It's just my onions.
It's just my. I believe that everyone is entitled to their soup.
Directly to Creative Assembly for a moment, because I think it's important to understand what's happening right now. CA, listen to your audience.
Oh, he's positioning. I get it. He's positioning himself as a self-appointed. Yes. This is
the big one, by the way. You're gonna.
Oh, the vibe. Oh my god, if he gives me the vibe. If he look, I have a feeling he's gonna like give me like these four all in one video. Like these four are all gonna show up at the same time.
In between units that looks decent, and with the comeback of matched combat, where we get to see units engaging in combat animation and stuff like that when we zoom in, is very much of a relief.
Or in the match combat, he's like talking about how the collision is amazing in the match combat. As he was saying that, I just watched a unit phase through like 2 troops to go during his attack.
Well, you know, maybe those big bad Horsham managers sabotage the CA, like Sophia devs. Like, it's office politics, man. It's office politics. They're afraid of losing their jobs, yeah.
They sent their geishas and spies over to sabotage them, yeah.
Unplug the HDMI. Just every morning we unplug a different wire, you know, set them back on their maybe take a can of Red Bull out of their fridge just to mess with them, you know, like somebody was here last night.
Move everything an inch to the left.
The Horsham devs work in strange ways. What is it? All right, we are in business then. And how's that bingo card going?
I got 2 more spaces. 2 free spaces to think up something that they're gonna say.
How could it be so difficult, man? Oh no! Wait, it won't. Wait. Oh, now it is. Okay. All right. Yeah. That is one. And you even put the bingo text on it. Wow, that's cute.
Yeah. I got one more.
Warhammer 2 is best because content in DLC. Pharaoh bad because no. I like how we took the same approach where we just repeat the same phrase in every box.
Yeah. How many times I say the word content? Because that's all they talk about is content. And it's just like, they're just begging, fleece me, daddy, fleece me, make me pay for every faction, make me pay for every single unit if needs be. I just want to pay for content.
Well, here's mine because you'll see the parallels. Okay, this is because I only have 2 screens right now and I have like 5 different windows open for the scrap, so I don't know which one's which now. Okay, I'm gonna get out of that screen. I'm gonna pop up my own bingo. You can see this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, look how no elaboration. Doesn't
I'm stealing that. Unit diversity.
As long as they're in different boxes, okay? Because it's not about getting it right. It's about being the first person to get. I placed all of these boxes very strategically, you'll notice, like to try and maximize my options in case one of them doesn't work, okay?
Yes. One natural light in there. My lights are broken. There we go.
Okay, awesome. I like how this is working out. Okay, so I see we have very, very similar approaches to this. Okay, and I think people in chat watching this, whenever this video goes up, will be able to read this individually. So I'm not gonna like read out every single one over here. Okay, I think we should just get right into the videos, okay? Just have our bingo cards open. Remember the bingo card, okay? Because I know a lot of the stuff comes up really quickly and it's easy to forget that you're missing points.
Yes.
It's very easy to forget that stuff, okay? So let's go to who do you want to start off with? I'm just gonna type Pharaoh, Total War Pharaoh, and see like what results pop up. I'm curious to see how far the okay, we're IGN. I don't care about the tabloid guys or whatever. No, I'm more concerned about the one-man operations, okay? Like, not worth $60. And for those of you who don't know, there's a bit of a history in ASMR, and I think you yourself know it very well.
With the Terminator. It's going to be the best ever historical Total War, dude. And I'm not even dignifying you, dear Daimyo, with a response for being such a toxic man.
Yeah, yes, I feel a need to stress it because there's like a lot of people who came in like to Pharaoh, my Pharaoh streams or whatever, and never heard about my channel or something. You know, that's how much of a failure the game has been. Me with my 3K subs is like, I think it was who was that guy you Jackie Fish or whatever? Like, what's that YouTube channel? Like, yeah, and like
200,000 subscribers, primarily a Total War channel. And he had something like 30 to 50 guys, and you was getting 70. I don't know what you topped out for.
I was like, I got 78, and that's actually, for the record, guys, that's my highest number concurrent. I've never gotten that in any stream or any premiere. That's the highest Total War Pharaoh. If there's one good thing that came about out of this empty gold mine, was that.
A bit of attention just to see how bad it was. And like, what I want to say is, it's interesting to me that majority of people came to you and not to guys that are known for covering Total War and have these big subscriber spaces, because I feel I'm pretty confident in saying that they don't trust them anymore. A lot of people don't trust them, and they see you saying, I'm putting myself through this so you don't have to. They're like, oh, let's see what a guy that's willing to be honest and critical and not put out CA so that they can get into their good graces. Let's see what this guy has to actually say, rather than someone who's gonna like bend over for the company.
I wonder, I think that's a factor, but I wonder how much more of it is I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that Total War Warhammer is over and like a lot of older fans might be coming back or something, and or I don't know, they just like spotted that popping up in the recommendations or whatever, and they wanted to like, I wonder how much of that is, oh, we can trust this guy, versus, oh, we're just going to randomly see who's live on launch day, especially if you're streaming it on launch day.
Yeah, well, launch day is definitely going to help you. It just says a lot when you're getting more views than very, very established and big channels. Like, and
I can't imagine, like, I've said this multiple times, but like you say they're established, but established in what? I mean, does anyone really go home at the end of the day after a long day of work, grab a coffee or whatever? It's like, you know what? I can't wait to see what Andrew's take has uploaded today.
Yeah.
Does anyone actually do that though?
I don't think anyone's excited. I think the homepage guys, you know what I mean? The algorithm.
Yeah, that's what I think
guys,
it is. I think yeah, they just appear at the top because, you know, it's such a dead franchise, specifically in terms of YouTube coverage, that you can get to the top like really easily, especially if you just spam upload the same crap every 2 to 3 days. And by virtue of people just searching for Total War, you're gonna have people stumble into your video. I wonder what the engagement is like. It's probably like 30 seconds and people click out.
Yeah, because like, I don't know about how you use YouTube, but me personally, I will go on my homepage more than my subscriber page at this point, just to find new stuff or stuff I haven't seen.
Let me just I want to check something here. Wait, sorry. I just want to make sure your camera is being captured more clearly. How do I do this? Theater mode? No, is that the correct one? Or okay, yeah, that's more like it. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. I just don't want you to be like I don't want you to be like a 5-pixel guy in the corner of the screen, you know?
Yeah, little tiny man, sound. No worries.
But you know, this is. Let's see what this is the end game of Total War, my man. You know, like, people like to think that Sparta ended, you know, the Greek state ended in a glorious last stand based on the movies, but do you know how Sparta actually ended? Have you ever heard the story of how Sparta actually ended? It's not nearly as glamorous, by the way.
Oh, yeah, just a little whimper, isn't it?
It was basically turned into a tourist attraction for Romans. That's what it was. Literally just for rich Romans coming as a tourist attraction. Wait a second. Is there... Oh, wait. Why is it doing that? So it freezes if I... Okay, so I'm gonna move your... It freezes your... If I tab out of Gilded, it freezes your camera. So I'm gonna do this where I move it onto the other window and like keep the tab open. Okay, there. That's working. Sorting out the technical issues early. All right. Anyway. Shall we set into it? This is the end game of Total War. We watch a bunch of salesmen who have no audiences just pretend that they weren't salesmen 5 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, let's rich Roman through Sparta here. Oh, look at these peasants.
All right.
Total War Pharaoh is Creative Assembly's next major historical game. It's developed by the Sophia team, whose previous work include the Rome 2 DLCs Empire Divided and the Rise of the Republic, as well as the Total War Saga games Thrones of Britannia and more recently Total War Saga Troy. Despite these having mostly mixed reviews and mixed success, it's generally accepted that this development studio within CA releases polished, well-made games that end up
by the way, if you have any point to make, just tell me to pause, because we're going to be pausing this a lot. Okay.
Pretty good value.
Absolutely.
Now, I've personally...
Okay, I'm going to stop there because this is a thing that I mentioned on Discord already with the CA Sophia. You know, there's the Horsham studio in the UK, and then there's Sophia, I think. Do they have any other studios, by the way, or is it just those two?
Just those two that I'm aware of right now.
Oh, me too. Well, they keep on talking. There's this narrative going along about those poor, downtrodden Sophia devs. They're really bright and talented and whatever. And it's the Horsham studio, the oppressive Horsham studio. And by extension, Sega, you know, like it's really weird because on the one hand, they're stating like, it's Horsham is basically cucking the Sophia devs, but at the same time, Horsham are the good guys getting cucked by Sega. Like, depending on what the conversation is, they shifted somewhere else. Like, it's somebody else doing the cracking the whip, you know?
Yeah, like, I think we can all agree, especially with the dreaded V-Man's videos releasing from the ex-devs, right? The devs are in a terrible state. I agree. But it's so weird to like layer it and separate like the company away, the company separated into 70 different layers of just like, oh, the devs, but the studios over this side are actually really good, and then the devs are really good over this side, and then it's actually the Horsham studio, like you said, but then it's actually kind of Sega's fault. To be honest with you, I don't care. Like I'm not their employee. I'm not employed there. I'm not best mates with them anymore.
Are you pen pals? Are you pen pals with the CA devs to know this?
Yeah, I buy the game, and I'm going to critique the game. And if I'm saying, oh, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, and then you come out with me with some kind of sob story about Sophia being downtrodden on, I'm like, yeah, but the game still kind of sucks, dude. I mean.
All roads go back to the game being shit.
Yeah, literally.
Also,
it's strange, like segmented argument. That's how I would do it. It's like they're just trying to like separate and confuse people. That's really what I would say, is separate it to the point where people are confused on who even to blame.
And at that point, the only ones benefiting are really just CA at the end. Like, oh, instead of people just saying the game's bad, they're busy trying to find the smoking gun over here when it really doesn't matter, you know? But I by the way, before we get further into this video, I realized none of us had a bingo, had a square for no gameplay footage featured, only trailer footage, right?
Yeah, no.
But I thought that would be a little. I was thinking to myself, that's gonna be a little like. It's gonna be a little too easy, that one. Okay, everyone knows that's gonna show up. All right, so far nobody got any bingo thing. Like we didn't talk about the whole. I can't believe we missed the whole Sophia thing. That was like that seems like a pretty. Yeah. We missed the whole. It's not that. Yeah. Okay.
I could say acting like an investor with business related excuses, but I think that one's a little bit too
vague.
Too vague, yeah, to apply here. So wait until they start.
It's like, water is wet, dude.
access to Pharaoh for about 3 weeks now. I've spent over 50 hours playing 4 campaigns, so...
Oh my god, he must have loved the game if he played it for 50 hours, right?
Among 4 campaigns, what's that? Not even...
That's like 50 hours.
13, 14 hours a campaign. 15 hours a campaign?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable, especially if it's like a first time and you're trying to learn the mechanics. But notice there's another thing we didn't catch. They never mentioned. I only watched one video, or like 1.5 videos, like out of the whole like slew of them. None of them actually mention what difficulty they're playing on. Curiously, I wonder why. I wonder why they don't mention that. Which difficulty they're playing on. Imagine if it's 15 hours on normal difficulty.
Yeah, 12 hours a campaign. That's not very long. From what usually should be these big games. But yeah.
And he might not have even finished them. Did he say he finished them, or did he quit them halfway through?
3 weeks now, I've spent over 50 hours playing 4 campaigns, so I think I've got a lot of experience to make a thorough review. In this video, I'll be...
Oh boy, he just set the expectation. It's going to be a thorough review, and he has 17 minutes now. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're going to have to be very efficient with those 17 minutes.
Just super condensed, like with your points.
It's doable, and it's a mark of talent if you can do that in 17 minutes, but something tells me it's not gonna be that way.
Talking about whether Pharaoh is worthy of being the definitive Bronze Age game it says it is, whether it's a challenging, replayable, and historical Total War, and whether, with all of that in mind, it's worth buying for the ripe standard price of $60. So let's get started. Set during the late Bronze Age collapse, Pharaoh takes place in a period of...
I'm gonna pause this for a second because I don't know how the YouTube copyright works if I just play like 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He already has the trailer footage. It's there. It's there.
Yeah.
And something...
just trailer stuff.
And it's going... There's going to be more of that.
Roughly 50...
Yeah.
So what I would say is it's interesting because he's already stepped with the premise of, is it worth $60?
That sounds like a cop-out. Like you left a back door for yourself, you know? Like
yeah. So I can see where he's going with this. I'm going to predict it. I should have put it in my bingo card. It should have been a Saga title. And $40.
I have that one. I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
Okay, I had that one. That was the first one I put down. I put it down in the central line just to make sure I had all my bases covered. Okay.
It's terrible, man. Like
that's my experience.
We'll get into, if he brings it up, we'll get into the Saga title stuff. But man, I've got some stuff to say about that Saga stuff.
Years in which multiple thriving cultures like the Mycenaeans or the Hittites were suddenly destroyed or abandoned.
By the way, guys, you can like go into the campaign customization settings and just like turn off all that crap or tone it down. Can you imagine? Like I have that coming in my critique video after all this is done. Like we're gonna have like the final critique video, and I throw in like. Can you imagine if they released, like, if the Shogun 1 expansion for the Mongol invasion released, and they're like, you know what? You can go into the menu and just disable the Mongol invasion entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, Attila, like, the threat of Attila, just turn them off.
Just turn that slider off. And even if you set it to legendary, you can still cop out all of all that stuff. Like, just... devalue the idea of playing the game on legendary completely, and some of that stuff, a lot of that stuff can still be changed even after you start the campaign. Like
I didn't see that part on your stream.
No. Some of it is restricted, like pre-campaign, but some of it is after. Now the thing is, you probably already have this point in your head. Somebody might say, well, okay, you know, like if you can still like not like fiddle with that stuff if you want to keep it like legendary or whatever, but you're ignoring the very human psychology of if you have all these settings over here and they're getting frustrated in the game that you will be tempted to turn those things off. Like that's the whole point of a legendary like Iron Man mode, is to force you to deal with that frustration, you know, like to like deal with all the bad stuff, you know, like all the ups and downs of it. If you can just have an emergency kill switch for that, it kind of really takes away the tension.
I think you're right there. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm also curious as to whether or not this affects achievements.
I didn't see. I searched for that if there's like a notification, like a star, because I know in like Paradox games, if you change like things or whatever, like it'll tell you, you know, like you can only get achievements in Iron Man mode, or I think most achievements are Iron Man mode. I'm not sure, but like I didn't see any like of that in this game. I didn't see them explain like, oh, either you can still get the achievements, or they just didn't tell you, oh, by the way, you can't get the achievements. And you can disable the Iron Man even after starting the Iron Man. Yes, you can do that.
That's the problem. Is like if it doesn't, because of like the whole accessibility, which is, that's an argument unto itself. If they're still going to allow you to get achievements on legendary mode with all these options, I don't see why not. Just make the AI completely brain dead, completely handicap it, and then destroy it all on legendary and be like, I'm better than Legend of Total War himself at legendary campaigns. Like, I mean, there's nothing to stop you doing that now. The proof, you could just proof by screenshotting, I completed 17 legendary campaigns on Pharaoh.
You know, I'm not the biggest fan of like stickler for Steam achievements or in-game achievements or whatever, but I'm more of the more like personal achievement of being able to like beat a game on legendary, just the satisfaction of doing it even if there's like no Steam achievement. And then it just deflates that completely if you can just have that kill switch in the back of your head the whole time. It's fucking annoying. Yeah.
But it's weird because it's the bragging rights of it. You can have all those like achievements being like, yeah, see, I bragging rights, I've got all these legendary campaigns unlocked, but if it... Did you really? Or did you just turn the...
You know who it's perfect for, though. You know who it's perfect for. Can you guess? Cool. Take a wild guess.
This guy.
Well,
this guy.
You're not wrong, maybe, okay, but that's not who I was referring to. I was referring to the people who sit all day on Reddit. That sounds like the thing it's designed for them, because they can just brag about like taking easy screenshots or whatever and just make memes out of it or whatever. Especially with the fully decked generals. Like I saw that option. You can go for fully decked generals like at the start of the campaign. And that just sounds like a TikTok kind of, like somebody sitting on TikTok all day just, oh, I can easily just get a fully decked out general, not have to like play the game for 10 hours or 15 hours at least. And just, you know, I can do that. You know, it's coffee in hand as well. You don't even need to put in any effort. It's awesome.
Yeah. This actually leads me into thinking, right, is I was watching, because leading up to this, I was looking up YouTubers and stuff, and I come across Diplex Head. I don't know if you've ever seen him before.
No.
He does a lot of grand scale RTT type games. And one of the terms he said that I was like, yes, this is really a spectator's game. When it came to like Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator with the 2 million units on screen. And that's kind of the problem. Is I think Total War in general is trying to just turn itself into a spectator game, especially with these options. The problem is it's not, if you're not going to be first, be best, you are not the best at spectator games when there are games out there which have like millions of entities on screen, different fantasy mods and stuff like that. Way larger scales, way larger like explosions. You cannot be the best at pew 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 explosions on screen. So I wish they leaned into the depth aspect of what they were doing, but they never did.
That's a thing I mentioned before. Like I've noticed a trend of in the past like 5 years of making games for streaming platforms. Basically, you're designing it to be extremely like clippable or something that's more fun to watch than it is to actually engage with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
There are a variety of theories out there. This is a very interesting time of human history, but it's generally accepted to have happened due to a combination of changing climate circumstances, social upheaval and civil war, disruption of vital trade networks, and the invasion of a group of migrating people called the elusive Sea Peoples. Egypt is one of the cultures that survived.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this here because again, copyrights.
So a lot of it is just him setting the scene on that kind of area.
We're already almost 2 minutes into the 17-minute video, and we haven't had any substantial points made. He said it's gonna be a full-on review, not covering the ground.
A lot of just setting scene of what Pharaoh's setting was like. Okay. I think people understand ancient Egypt.
And therefore,
but it's basically I'm not gonna say the word as it is because I don't want to get demonetized, but it's prawn for history nerds. The problem is the history nerds don't buy Total War, as you've seen with this game and all the other historical Total War games.
Or is the principal foundation from which Pharaoh, as its name suggests, is built on. The Egyptian culture comes with 4 of the 8 playable factions, including Ram.
Oh, this is so basically it's just a product description kind of thing at this point. If it's gonna be like just listing the factions and everything, and it's a
inventory check, baby. Let's go.
These guys come from their 9-to-5 Excel spreadsheet jobs back home to do it all over again. They by the way, like I didn't like after like I started paying attention to this stuff before I started like working a full-time job, and it's like what immediately struck me when going to an actual like real full-time job is like hearing the corporate speak and everything there. I'm like, I've heard this stuff before. Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So it all comes together now. It's like, wow. So these are probably low-level, like mid-level management and some crappy firm kind of people just taking it into their YouTube channels.
Just trying to climb that corporate ladder, baby. That's what it's
our
about.
main protagonist, Seti, the heir to the Egyptian throne, his wife and historically future pharaoh Tausret, and Amen-Mes, the eldest royal heir and viceroy of Kush. The Hittites are also represented in this game with 2 factions, Shupiluluuma, the last king of Hatti, and Kurunta, the usurper. Plus, we've got 2 Canaanite factions with Bey, the political schemer, and Ursu, who is a bit of a rowdy...
All right, I gotta stop there again because copyright.
Just inventory. Just telling us what's there.
Yep.
So far. What's involved in the game? I guess I can't really bash him for it. It's just letting people know what you're playing as.
Well, we'll just treat it as a proverbial campfire when we get here. You know, like we're just gonna stop here, resupply, and move on.
Yeah.
Mean-tempered antagonist.
Oh wait. He didn't say any bingo. We have to remember the bingo points, okay? Like it's very easy to forget it. Like, did he mention anything so far? No, he has not. I don't believe he has mentioned anything so far. Nope. I haven't gotten anything.
No, nothing yet.
All right.
Having chosen your faction and starting the campaign, we're placed on a narrow yet visually stunning map, reminiscent of Total War.
Whoa. I got
the
one.
Graphics.
This game is really pretty, guys. Guys, I got it. I got one. I'm gonna cross it off over here. Make sure. Make sure. I have a feeling. Never mind. Actually, that train of thought was just going nowhere. What should I do? I should highlight this as green, and I got this. All right. So this game is really pretty. Okay, we got it. We got one. Okay, 1 for 1 now. And by the way, I had another point in my head that I was gonna say. I was just about to say it before he hit this point, like so ironic. I was just about to say, is he about to create a video that's immune to being bingoed by not actually making any points in it?
Yeah, just don't say anything.
He discovered the secret. You can't falsify something if you don't make the claim in the first place.
Yeah. Total War is a game that very much has factions and battles.
It's like this evolution is like on a parabolic curve or something. We go from Shogun 1 Total War that's like relatively basic or primitive in its design, and then we reach like complexity, increased depth, and then we just go back down to square to even worse than that. Or flatlining at this point.
War Saga Troy that stretches as far north as just shy of the Black Sea in the lush green of Anatolia, and as far south as the arid desert lands of Kush or Nubia. And this is where we see the first striking issue of why this isn't quite a definitive major.
Oh my god. He's making a point now. He's gonna make a point. I am actually on the edge of my seat now. What will it be? It's always a non-point in the end. It's always just some vague something in the end. Like you're getting blue balled.
Your Bronze Age game. The map does not go as far west as Greece or even Western Anatolia, and does not include the eastern kingdoms of Mesopotamia, both of which had huge thriving.
Do I get this as a bingo point yet? Does this count? I was gonna say it needs more factions. It needs more factions. It would have been fine. He's really close to saying it. Just say it.
I got Pharaoh bad because no content.
Dynasties which played prominent roles in the Bronze Age and were definitely impacted by the Bronze Age collapse. Their absence is at least a big disappointment, especially.
I think he might have avoided it. Like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be too like sleazy, like taking a point because he said it in the opposite direction. Like I said, it would have been fine, but he says it's disappointing that these factions aren't in the game. So I don't know if that counts. You know what? Fuck it. We have so many videos to watch that it's bound to be said at some point.
Yeah.
It's bound to be said exactly. I need to catch these guys.
Especially if you're here for a Bronze Age game. And at most, it's a first indication that this isn't quite the major Total War game we've been told it is. But okay, let's accept that for a moment and just look at the game itself. The narrative opens up with the death of the Egyptian pharaoh Mereneptah, leaving a power vacuum, and eventually in your first 60 turns, multiple civil wars in which one faction leader with the most legitimacy at the end of the timer becomes the new pharaoh. Legitimacy here being the key word, as that's an accumulated.
I want to make a remark on the diplomacy / politics system over here, but all I can really say is that it's been Rome 2 since Rome 2 like this, where you don't need military access to march into somebody else's land and it doesn't set off a war. And yet the games are still praised for, it has better diplomacy. And I wonder how that works. I wonder how you get better diplomacy when you can just waltz on in, like just walk in right next to the settlement, not have the war declared, then declare the war to take the settlement so the AI doesn't respond, doesn't have the chance to mount a defense at all.
So, like when it comes to like, it has more diplomacy. A lot of things I've seen, like I played Three Kingdoms, right, and a lot of the diplomacy on that was just completely superficial. Just like, I'll give you this bottle cap, this bottle cap for this fucking thing here. I'll give you a bottle cap for this. And there was like a million different things to trade over, and it was all superficial, completely worthless for the most part. And then maybe sometimes you could be like, oh dude, actually I've got 2 bottle caps here, so can you give me military access for these 2 bronze bottle caps? And they just do it. And I was like, how is this like better diplomacy? There's no, like, I'm giving you a little monkey statue for access to your entire lands. I don't know. Is it the same in this game where it was just like a bunch of options that really had no...
What I was getting, I played like 8 hours worth of this game's campaign. What I was getting was they were always asking, by the way, there's no mutual trade agreements in this game. Like, how you just offer a trade agreement and it's just like lasting for however long it lasts, like it's indefinite. Instead, there's a single barter and then there's multi-turn barter. So single barter is just a single trade. Like, I'm going to trade this amount of wood for this amount of food. And then there's they set it for 10 turns. So 10 turns continuously, I'm gonna give you 1,000 wood. You give me this in return. It sounds fine as a concept. The problem is, the only resource that I was running low on that really matters is food, because that's what you need to recruit units, and that's what you need for upkeep. For buildings, you need wood and stone. And the thing is, the buildings, and they pay back for themselves pretty quickly in terms of stone and wood, and they're not used for critical stuff like units. So they ask you for, however, I built a bunch of lumber mills or whatever the building is that produces wood, and they kept on asking me for wood to give me gold in return. Now, what gold does in this game, it's not the main income form of income as in the last game. So what gold does is it allows you to insta build a building. Like, instead of taking 5 turns, you just use gold and it just instantly builds the building. It's very mobile game-esque, I know. Yes. The AI is way too happy to give you that gold for wood, which you're probably not going to be like urgently needing. So I'm like, you know what? You might as well. You're probably going to die in the next 2 turns, you know, so I might as well just take this gold real quick. That's what it is. I don't know if that's revolutionary.
So I can see where they're coming from, where it's like relevant resources can build different things, and I kind of like that approach. But for the most part, like you said, it's not implemented properly thought out, especially with that gold just insta builds things. I'm like, what is that? When it comes to diplomacy, like, it should be treaties and stipulations and like rules of engagement and stuff like that are set up between you and another faction or another country or whatever you want to call them, another race, and then you can have things to gain support and favor, such as arranged marriages, things like that. The system we've had for so long is just like military access, trade agreement, and I guess the alliances, defensive and military alliances. Those are the only 4 things that actually matter.
And the problem is, speaking specifically defensive alliance, the problem with that is not in this game, because in this game the AI, I was surprised that the AI actually declares war, but it's multifaceted layers of problems. Okay, that's not necessarily a good thing. But the AI is actually willing to declare war in this game. But I noticed that in 3 Kingdoms and in Rome 2 on Legendary, it was extremely passive. Like, it would never go on the offensive against you. Like, I was just playing Rome 2 back over the past few years, just revisiting it. I was just shocked at how incredibly passive it is. That's before you even consider that you just march in without military access anyway. But even when they do declare war on you, here's the fun part. Even when they do declare war, they're also extremely passive. Like, they will just not attack. Like, I played, is it Lu Bu? I don't remember who it was, which campaign it was in 3 Kingdoms recently, where the faction that I started at war with had like a full stack, like literally on my borders with nothing to defend there. And they just marched in and marched right out. Like, they marched into the territory and just marched right out because, I don't know. So what the problem with that is, when you realize that the AI's behavior, a lot of the defensive alliances and military alliances just don't matter anymore, because, you know, they're not going to attack me anyway. And the whole reason you'd go for a defensive alliance and a military alliance in the first place is you want to avoid being in a situation where you're at war with anyone, but it loses its value when they don't attack you anyway.
Yeah. Like, what should be happening here is... So the way I could think about it is, if you're just going to declare war on the entire world, or if you're going to be going from war to war to war to war, conquering, every faction should kind of a realm divide moment where they're just like, this guy is insane. He's literally the mustache man of this period, and they all come after you. And the idea around stopping that is that, one, the factions themselves actually have some power, and wars are costly and meaning. Well, they're a challenge. Wars are a challenge. The AI will recruit a ton of armies against you. And then the other way to do that is to have like marriages set up and implant seeds of claims in the future. So then if you set up a marriage and then that your daughter has a son with their prince, that king, you then can have claim on that land. That's how it should be kind of going.
And at the same time, there's also the liability aspect where if you go to war with them, then your son's basically hostage or whoever, and they're dead at that point. So
yeah,
there's the long-term liability of it. The problem is like I don't see even with options that are there's not a lot of long-term liability. Like you can just decline the call for for defensive alliance if somebody gets attacked, and it doesn't really impact like it says like the rating goes down or whatever. You have this negative modifier, but it really doesn't seem to have much of an impact on the way they behave practically.
Yeah,
it all goes back. Yeah.
What I was going to say is I kind of got lost in the forest through the trees here. Ultimately, we could talk all day about a diplomacy system that would be better, but what it currently is just trading a bunch of numbers between each other, and people are saying that's awesome because you have so many numbers to trade. That's basically what I'm saying when people go, the diplomacy is so much better. Just throw in different numbers at people.
And
AI doesn't know what it's doing.
Also, it all goes back to the fact that if it does, all of these systems just fall apart if the AI just does not present any challenge in the first place. Like it does not, like, what's the point in using agents? What's the point in forging alliances? What's the point in doing any of this if the AI just can't present a challenge, which it can in this game, but for some very wrong reasons. And I don't know if he's gonna touch on the outpost, because if he touches on the outpost feature in this video, on the outposts, I have a lot of stuff to say about that.
Anyway, of reputation that you gain through victorious battle, through building monuments, through taking a position on this new court mechanic, and others. And as far as newish features go in Pharaoh, this was quite refreshing, and at least in my first playthrough was enjoyable enough to learn the basics of and use to my advantage. Sophia has always delivered new campaign mechanics that add
Sophia has always? Isn't this Sophia's first game?
I am not sure. But anyway, even if it wasn't, like, how do you prove any of this? What part is Sophia and what part is Horsham? Like, how can you really? And I've read, I think in one of the comments on my video or somewhere else, somebody, or on Discord, somebody actually like knows, like went and checked like the background of the staff working at Sophia, and they worked at another dev before that was also just making like number crunching management games of a similar kind. So I don't know about that, but even then, like, where do you draw the line? Where did what come from? Where did so and so come from? What came from where? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, we'll see what have they added. What is added? That it's just number stacking.
Layer of gameplay has been enjoyable enough to learn the basics of and use to my advantage. Sophia has always delivered new campaign mechanics that add a meaningful layer of gameplay.
Oh yeah, so I think they actually worked on some of the later DLCs for Rome 2. That's one thing.
Design.
Troy.
And this is a great example.
Troy, I'm not sure if they worked on Troy. This is Thrones of Britannia, right? I think that's Thrones of Britannia.
This
one is Thrones of Britannia.
So,
yeah.
So he's got Thrones of Britannia up as an example, but I've got their Wikipedia up here, and it's just Rome 2 DLCs and Troy and Pharaoh. So I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but information I'm missing. But I don't think they did Britannia.
Gameplay,
but it's not even a great catalog to have, even if they did that.
No,
we're missing the important point over here.
Yeah.
Now whether it's a case of they're just bad devs or they were given a bad thing to work with, which is Rome 2, I don't really think it makes a difference to the conclusion. Like, the end of the day, like, from our perspective, it really doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Design, and this is a great example of that. Where the gameplay loop starts and ends in Pharaoh, though, is the multi-resource system first introduced in Total War Saga Troy. Every settlement either produces food, wood, stone, bronze, or gold, and that is your main incentive for how you prioritize expansion in the campaign map. And these resources are the main drivers of every other mechanic in the game, whether
I will say it would have, the system would have worked better if they didn't make it that recruitment was only done with like food, or for the most part only done with food. Because imagine if you had like different unit classes requiring different resources. Imagine using that like in war. You could actually cut off their ability to recruit a certain unit. Like you could try to control the pace of war where you like, it's like, I'm thinking about Age of Empires 2 over here, where depending on which military build you're going to go for, you're going to focus on different resources. And you can sabotage people. Like if you raid them early and target certain villagers, whether they're lumberjacks or working in a gold mine, you can really mess up their strategies. And I'm thinking back to how I'm trying to think about how much potential this idea had, because back in like the older Total War games, if you wanted to do like serious damage, like in the long term, you could, let's say if you're in a position where you can't knock out the enemy faction yet, but you want to destroy like their long-term capacity for war, you would go into like a military settlement that they'd built up and just wreck all of the buildings there, just destroy all of the military recruitment buildings there for advanced units. And after you defeat the armies that they already have, you're going to see the replacement armies are now just nothing but rabble, because you destroyed that, you cut them off that resource. But they messed it up by making it all food here, so it's like, you can't really do that.
Yeah, it would be nice if, like, in the game with Shogun 2, you know how, like, farms and stuff like that were separate from the main settlement, which was the castle. And then you could have people raid that. It would be nice if, like, you launched a multi-pronged raid against every farm on the enemy. And that actually has, like, devastating consequences, especially when winter comes, and then that kind of, like, undermines the army as a whole, like just literally wipes them in half. You could take them over, but then that could happen to you as well if you're not careful. I think that would be a very nice.
That did happen like on the settlement level. That kind of dynamic where you would fight over settlements in that manner, where you would say, okay, I'm gonna keep this settlement because I can hold on to it, but I can take this settlement over here, but I can't hold on to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just damage it as much as possible and destroy whatever value it has. Now it didn't work with the individual like towns, like the farm and the gold mine or whatever, because for the most part it was just, the effect was just way too minuscule. But they had something going there, and they came back with the outpost system. But the outpost system does some good things overall, has some potential, but then it really messes up in one interesting way, and I documented that already.
Whether it's the court, the technology tree, or engaging in diplomacy, everything has some sort of impact on how much of these 5 resources you own, produce, and spend. This is essentially the foundation of the gameplay loop. You expand your territory, you produce more resources, you build bigger and more powerful armies to expand your territory, get more resources, and the loop goes on and on.
We're 5 minutes in, and he's basically just described like the very, very general gameplay loop, just in the most general, absolute general terms. It's almost like a bait switch. Yeah, what was it?
On the bingo card, if you've got something that involves like making numbers go up.
I did not do that. Much. Like I went for some really specific stuff and forgot the general stuff. I was thinking too. I was giving them too much credit.
Forgot myself.
But the thing is, it's kind of like a bait and switch. Like you have the title that seems like it's going to be really like fails in almost every way, and we're already 5 minutes in and we still haven't really had, like, he made one, like most of the points he's made so far are positive, right?
Like just stating facts. Like, this happens in the game, man. This happens in the game.
This is you click mouse button on button and then something happens.
Yeah, I want to see what fails. Show me what fails, Terminator. Show me what fails.
You see? And then he's going to turn into some philosophical thing in the end. You see, my friend, it was you who failed. You were so preoccupied with what this game did wrong that you forgot yourself.
The failure was the friends we made along the way. Let's go.
The friends we made along the way were the failure. Oh wait, that's actually accurate. Sorry.
But what CA Sophia are time and time again so good at doing on the campaign side of things is to add layers of gameplay that take the focus away from these repetitive loops. You've got the ancient legacies, which are special missions every culture can access, from building unique monuments to special interaction with your vassals. You get deities to pray to for an assortment of stat buffs and benefits, which, to be honest, can...
It's just stat buff, staff buffs.
That's the thing, is it's not the only
numbers,
stat buff thing. Like he spoke about the deity thing or whatever. There's the deities, there's the buildings, there's the tech tree. The tech tree is like almost exclusively stats. Like I don't think there's a single like tech that unlocks a building. Like the buildings are just unlocked by default. Like the moment you finish the upgrade or something. No, it's tied to the workforce. That's what the buildings are tied to. You need the workforce. Like in Rome 2, you had population, like 1 population or 3 or something like that. And then once it reaches a certain threshold, you can upgrade. But so there's nothing in the tech tree that unlocks buildings, from what I remember. There's only just the workforce, and it's really really easy to get those upgrades. Like they expand pretty quickly.
So all these features, every time they're just adding. They've got so many features, so many mechanics. It's just always just multiple sub windows that just make numbers go up.
And then, and even then, like you have all these brackets over here, like this province. I'm on the full screen over here. You got this like brackets, like melee defense on recruitment +3. Like that sounds significant, right? Like that sounds like it's gonna be like for the whole faction, just in general, because that was something that existed in past games as well. Like you'd get +1 to experience to like all spear wielding recruits, like whatever they're recruited. It does this over here, and it's like another bait and switch. Like sorry brackets. It's this province only. It's not. It's
fine print, grayed out right in.
I'm telling you, it's middle management. Middle management designed this game for middle management. They love reading this crap over here. Same thing, damage resistance versus missiles, this army. It's like all of it, like this province, this army, this. Same thing with the tech tree. Like there's this like big text over here with the bonus written, and then this tiny like footnote thing over here that says only 4 temples. Like it's just, it's not only uninteresting, it's so difficult to parse through it. Like it's just like you're really role playing the bureaucrat over here.
You're just trying to juggle 17 different stats that apply to 24 different provinces and people and armies and locations. Like, this isn't engaging to me.
Complex, and of course the biggest layer, the Bronze Age collapse. If various cities called pillars of civilization, which are dotted around the map, are destroyed, the condition of civilization worsens, so more frequent earthquakes or debuffs to resource production, and the wave after wave, of course, of dangerous raiding sea people's armies. Now this all sounds really good on paper, and
okay, so pause. So how is this? Let's play into this whole like historical versus fantasy red herring. How is a city being destroyed going to result in more earthquakes? Or like
I didn't even catch that. Like he says it like all so quickly that I didn't even register that. Like wait a second.
Yeah, so this is Creative Assembly's first historical game. And in all honesty, I would say when it comes to historical versus fantasy, let's say grounded versus fantasy.
Magic, you know.
Yeah, so like a more grounded game versus a more fantastical game. Then they just go way off into the clouds with like God worshipping abilities that grant you so many bonuses, just make your units hit harder somehow. And then you have like if this pillar of civilization, this city dies, you're going to get more earthquakes and volcanoes and hurricanes. It's like, well, how does one lead to the other? In reality, it doesn't. So it's kind of just another aspect of fantastical elements.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a weird thing. So if one of these like pillars of civilization way off at the top of the campaign map gets blown up, you the player are punished by like 20 armies of sea peoples coming in.
Also, the fact that I believe the pillars of civilization are like set like from the very start of the campaign, like it's just in stone. But like, come on, like, are you telling me if one of those pillars of civilization just happens to, you know, not get developed through the campaign, let's say like every 2 turns somebody else is conquering it and never has the chance to grow, it's still considered a pillar of civilization? Like, how, like, this system, this would have been like so much better if it was like more dynamic. Like, we already had that dynamic in past games. It wasn't like an explicit mechanic, but it was the case where cities, especially when like I'm pretty sure like with the Roman and Medieval too, because you had the population mechanic there. If a city was constantly being conquered, you know, like back and forth and being pillaged, that would directly like impact its profitability. That would be a very direct like cause and effect. Here's the war over here that keeps on happening. It's a war zone, and it's not an economic, like it's economically it's a weak province. That's just the expected outcome from it. So that was something you already had in past games. Like, you could have an entire section of the map. I remember with Shogun 2, like in the central part of the map, that like central area where the Iko-Eki and the Hattori are, where it's usually just a really, really like back and forth kind of thing, where you'd walk in and none of the provinces were upgraded because they just never had the time to do that. So you walk in and everything is just poorly defended because it's been a war zone the entire time. It's never been unified. And that gave a sense of realism. Like, you would expect that if it's constantly in a war, if one part of the map is constantly embroiled in war, the other isn't, you would expect to find that difference. And that's something that just happens normally. Just, it might happen in one campaign, it might happen differently in another. It's not something that was just set in stone. Oh, we determined that this city is actually a pillar of civilization, and it just always is, no matter, even if this other city next to it happens to surpass it in terms of development level and everything. But you know, this one is because the dev said so, it's a pillar of civilization. Yeah, too bad.
Yeah, again, it's taken away that like emergent gameplay, that dynamic gameplay that you're talking about, and it's the devs coming in, just booting the door in and being like, no, this is how you play, this is what's good, this is what's bad. Screw the player's agency. You revolve your entire campaigns that are sandbox around these. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. The problem is, like, what makes the discussion really hard, especially with people who aren't familiar with the older games, is that they look at these new mechanics being implemented, but what they don't realize is it already existed in older games. It just wasn't explicitly called something, or it didn't have its own like fancy window that you would open up with all these designs or whatever. It was just something that, some basic interaction that you had. It was not something that it was not something that had like an event trigger, or the devs gave you a mission, you know, like, you need to do this, by the way, do this, and you get like certain objectives doled out to you. So that makes the discussion really like difficult, because there's a disconnect. Like, they understand mechanics as these very explicit thing that you see, that if it opens up in a menu, this is the mechanic, but they don't think about it in actual interactions, like what's actually happening, what the actual decision-making process.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. Very good point. Well presented.
In my first campaign, I'll be honest, I liked that I had to spend more time than usual to wrap my head around it all. But it was in my second campaign that I started to see the cracks in this design, and where the mechanics I previously enjoyed started to become chores I just had to get on with.
Okay, we're about to get into, are we going to finally get the criticisms? We're 6 minutes into the 17-minute video.
Let's go.
Suddenly,
he's starting to get into something we were just talking about there.
The rosy tint of a new Total War fell away, and I could see that none of the decision making had any real opportunity cost or lasting impact.
Oh yeah, that is true. Actually, I do agree with that. All of the tech, like, because like all of the buildings are already like they're baseline, they're already buildable. You just need the workforce to reach a certain limit, and the workforce is just constantly growing anyway. Like, you're never in a scenario where you end up having only access to like one certain like tree of buildings, not the others, and you have to like weigh the benefits and like the advantages or plan it all out. It's just, straight stat buffs across the board. Eventually, the buildings are all going to be available.
The mechanics that were keeping me interested just became repetitive, and the narrow scope of the game and its map forced me to battle over the same territory, fight the same characters, and destroy the same factions. What could help with all of this is a variety of playable factions with unique
variety, bingo, not bingo yet, but
I don't think I got one. I don't think I got one. I said specifically. Is it what exactly? I want to be fair with my bingo. Okay, what exactly did he say here? Hang on, I'm gonna measure to based on what I wrote.
Could help with all of this is a variety of playable factions with unique playstyles.
Okay, but he's not saying more factions. He said maybe he means that if they had more variety between the existing factions. Let's see what he says after this. I need some clarification.
But that's just not the case either. Ramses is supposed to have really high campaign movement, and yet all of the other factions, through outposts, through skills and deities, can get really high movement as well.
Oh my god. That's probably the outpost system contributing to that. By the way, so you got 1 point from what he said?
I have it here somewhere. Where is it? Where was it? No, I thought I had something where it was like needs more
content.
I don't know, but I do have here. Campaign is all that matters. We're about almost halfway through. He hasn't mentioned the battle.
He just needs to mention the battles once and you're disqualified. You know, that does not count.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put it up there. Cross it off. If he brings up the battles and focuses around them, I'll wipe it off.
Okay. We'll see about that.
AverMedia is supposed to be this gold-producing powerhouse, but that doesn't mean he can't access every other resource with ease either. In fact, being on the Nile, surrounded by the desert, that's exactly what he can do. Irsu is supposed to be this angry...
What does this guy want? I don't get what he's complaining about. It's a historical game. They're all like, it's not like Warhammer where it's all like they're different races.
I see what you're saying here.
Anti-Egypt.
It's just boring humans, dude.
It's just historical. What does this historical fan even want? What do you even want? Is this not the game you wanted? Is this not what you wanted?
Yeah. See, if they were lizards, if they looked like lizards, I could understand wanting different variety in playstyle. If they look like orcs, you know.
It's actually it's low-key kind of I'm not gonna say the R word over here, but it feels like that. Like, oh, this game set in Japan, they're all Japanese, it's so boring. Like, it just comes off to me as that kind of mentality. Like there's a bit of an undercurrent going there. Like, what are you implying? Hang on.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird because like problem is they all say, oh, every faction roster is exactly the same, where it's like the Katana Samurai, the Yaridachi.
Yaridachi. That's a new unit there. Anyway, yeah. Yaridachi.
Or what? Yeah, but then the Yari Aragashu and stuff like that.
Englishman butchering all the names here. Classic.
Aragashu. They all share the same kind of like roster thing, but like I've said multiple times, like it doesn't matter. Like if I was to take every single faction, right, the rosters of every individual faction, reskin them, gave them a different name per relative to per faction, right? But they functionally acted the exact same. Like the Yari still had the Yari War, but instead I called them the Phalanx and gave them a new skin. People will be like, yo, the faction variety and the unit variety and differentiate the variety is so good in this mod. I haven't done anything. I just reskinned and renamed things.
That's why I don't actually trust modders, by the way. He brought up modders. People are like, oh, you should just hand this series to the modders. I'm like, guys, I honestly, 95% of the Total War modders specifically, I trust them less than the CA devs, believe it or not. I've seen the stuff that they mod into the game. Okay, and it's different if somebody is self-consciously, like self-aware, making the game stupid. Like I'm gonna add in 200 man units. Yeah, like it's okay, like that's self-aware, you know, like we're just making fun, you know, it's not meant to be taken seriously. But no, when you actually read their mod notes, a lot of them are taking it very seriously. Like I'm solving this problem in the campaign or whatever, and I just look at their mod notes and I'm like, oh my god, I can instantly see how this is gonna break the game. Like for example, Darth mod. I don't know, have you ever played Darth mod for Shogun 2?
No, I was never. When he was up and running, I wasn't really into the modding scene outside of Third Age.
Oh, okay.
The Lord of the Rings mod.
Okay.
But yeah, say your point on what it is.
Yeah, so I played that like years ago, Darth mod, and one of the things he does is he massively like cuts down the upkeep cost for most units. Okay, and he also I think he also improves the garrisons on the whole, like for the settlements. And what that does is very, very quickly turns the game into a World War I kind of meat grinder, where the map is just congested with armies and the front line never moves, and every turn is like 8 siege defenses. You can never move that front line forward. And I just look at that and like, you guys, you know, you do things that sound cool on paper, okay? You do things that sound cool on paper, but it doesn't seem like you playtested them and see how the game actually plays out in the end.
So playtesting, I love that quote.
That's an old timer.
Yeah, an absolute honorable daimyo classic, that one. No playtesting. Like I said, when it comes to like the unit variety, if I was to just take all the factions, do nothing to them functionally, reskin them, rename them, people would say the unit diversity in Shogun 2 with this mod is amazing, almost like Warhammer levels. I can guarantee you it. And so it's just a complete like,
it's like, oh, the game is finally good.
Smoke and mirrors, illusion, trick of the eye. Yeah, they don't. I think a lot of people talking about this don't know what they're talking about.
He's only 1.5 hours in and he's already lost his faith in humanity, it seems.
Yeah. I'm morally crushed, dude.
Knights don't have their own courts, no formable kingdom, and you have no marginal reward to raise and pillage versus just expanding out and developing resource production. Nothing tangible to force you to play a certain way. There's no real faction diversity here if there's no...
That's a bingo.
That's not for me, though. I didn't get that.
Not a bingo, but that's on a bingo. I've got unit diversity, not faction diversity.
You lose today. Dr. Evil, you lose today.
Real incentive, no risk to play them differently. And so what that means is Pharaoh has basically no replayability. And what's worse is I realize that for a Bronze Age Collapse game, this doesn't actually play like the Bronze Age Collapse.
While he's making these points, the points in the last like 30 seconds or 1 minute were generally correct, but it just like this context is very important. Remember, you mentioned earlier, 1.5 hours ago, that this guy was hyping the next historical Total War game like mad last year, and just you know, he's been chilling Total War for a while, so. Even though the point itself might be correct, you must always remember that just until a few months ago, these guys were all teary-eyed or whatever. Just very important to remember that.
So what I will say is, I think his solution is wrong. He's saying like, oh, the issue is there's not enough not enough factions or factions diversity.
Yeah.
Believe it was, but maybe in terms of like gameplay diversity and mechanics and stuff, maybe he might be onto something here. But the problem is you could add as much scope to this game as possible. You could add 1,600 more factions, 10,000 more settlements.
What about 1,700 more factions?
Yeah. 10,000 more settlements. But as long as those pillars of civilization remain, like we said, the game is going to revolve around those like hard-coded settlements, and it's all going to revolve around that, and you're always going to be having the same campaign over and over and over, which is take these and make sure nobody else screws them over. It removes like the dynamic ebb and flow, the emergent gameplay. It removes
Also,
I don't know, let's say
the battles. Don't forget the battles. They're still going to be crap.
yeah, battles are still going to be absolutely crap. Let's say in Medieval 2, you was playing as England, and then you was like sweeping through Spain, and then sweeping through France. Oh yo, Spain has just declared war on me, and I get to their last like capital, and they built up to a citadel. Oh, like that's a huge thing. Like I've got to now do a massive like siege, and it's really cool and dynamic, and I didn't have that before. But then you play England in a different campaign, and you're like, right, I remember Spain built up against me. I'm going to try and take them out first. France has now built up.
Yeah.
No. Now imagine if it was hard-coded that France was always like the pillar of civilization. France, the Holy Roman Empire, and Rome. You're always just going to go the same route every single time, and Spain can you don't care, and vice versa. This is what the problem with these hard-coded settlements are.
Visuals
Pharaoh.
might escalate, cities might burn, and powerful sea people's armies may arrive, but I still have an abundance of resources. I'm still expanding my territory and running around with huge high-tier armies. It looks like the Bronze Age collapse, but so many of the other factions are still kicking around while I'm not just surviving here, I'm actually thriving. It just doesn't make any sense. I want to feel the pressure of a crumbling civilization, but sadly, I don't.
And that's the thing. Somebody brought up in my stream chat when you're playing like the initial cutscene for Pharaoh, like the when you go for the campaign, when you start the campaign, the cutscene that plays. And then you see like this screen over here, for example, the battle screen where they do this bit of a duel. How there's like this massive disconnect between like what the game thinks it is and what it actually is. Like it thinks it's this huge, dramatic, climactic, end of civilization kind of thing, but you see that on one end, but then when you see the game actually playing, like you're actually playing it, it's just what?
It's just like a complete like dissonance with the narrative.
You remember
an absolute juxtaposition.
You remember the Realm Divide cinematic from Shogun 2? That cinematic, that 30 seconds, that you just that tune that plays, and you get just 30 seconds, and it's so damn ominous. And then the game actually like lives up to it. Like it doesn't bait you out of that crap.
Yeah, man. This is the problem with the AI and stuff like that, but I want to see what else he says about it.
I started seeing other issues, maybe minor issues, but they all add up over time. The outpost system is nice to have again back in Total War, but it's just completely overpowered.
Yep, I totally agree. I wonder if he's going to mention the points that were the reason that specifically the big reason that it's broken.
Stat stacking feels like it's never been worse as I can zoom around from one province to the next.
Oh my god, he's actually featuring reference footage in the game. I'm stunned. I should have had a bingo card for this, but I didn't think it would be possible.
Did he say stat stacking?
Yes.
The problem.
Yes.
Oh, he's learning. He's learning.
This is the anti-bingo card video. It's not working.
I have said that Termi is starting to he's breaking the conditioning. He's breaking the conditioning. Alex Jones style. Like,
and then Medieval 3, and I get it's announced. Conditioning comes back.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's my problem. Is I think he is. Well, maybe he'll prove us wrong, and he'll actually double down on these criticisms. But for the most part, it just seems like he's just going where the wind takes him, which is what the audience
what makes
says,
you think that?
Which is like,
what makes you think that? I wonder, huh? I'm sorry. Are you accusing someone? Do I sense an accusation over there? I'm sorry, man.
Impropriety, maybe. Yeah.
Yes,
but like,
do I sense a bit of impropriety right now?
It's like it's expedient to criticize Pharaoh, so he's going to, and then maybe once Medieval comes around, which everybody wants Medieval 3, I want Medieval 3. It's just, I mean, the games are not fundamentally changing. You're adding random stacking bullshit screens the battles aren't changing. The campaigns are acting pretty much the same. And this whole fanfare around themes and settings, like it's just about what the setting is. Warhammer, Medieval 3, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. I don't know what else they got. Empire, Pike and Shot. Like nobody's talking about the game, how it plays, and it's just so frustrating.
Jesus, it got to the point where I'm just absolutely shocked when they start talking, like they show the actual gameplay. Like, wait a second, I was not prepared for this.
To the next in a single turn, and while campaign customization...
Whoa, he thwarted me. I had a point over here that says no talk about the absurd. I was thinking they were just going to just not mention that at all. He thwarted me. Holy crap. Don't worry, I will have my revenge. I will watch somebody else. We will watch. If I have to watch every single video on the topic to complete a bingo line, I will.
We'll stay here till 4 a.m. if needs be.
For example, is another great interesting feature to have. I just found it incredibly frustrating to try and balance a custom campaign when the default state is so unbalanced already. Essentially,
yeah, like that's just the problem. I hate how Civilization, the series, I'm not sure if they started this whole thing, this whole fashion, but they definitely popularized it, where you just go into, you want to play a Civilization game and you have to do like 15 minutes of just adjusting settings or whatever. And the problem with that is if you don't know anything about the game, like what's your basis for everything? What is default? What is large? How balanced is large? How balanced is small? And it's just like, what even does any of this mean? The numbers, Mason. What do the numbers mean?
Yeah, you just, once again, you're just trying to mentally juggle like 16 different numbers and stats and stuff like that. And it's not engaging. It's not tactical.
It's not tactical. It's not tactically strategic.
Yeah.
Everywhere I looked, from the tech tree to the deities, the buildings, it's all covered in really positive stats.
I can't. He's getting all these points right. Oh my god. But again, remember guys, this collective, they were all shilling the game until literally this year, or not even before the game was like announced. They're like, oh, the next historical Total War game. Never forget that, guys. Never forget-y. Okay?
Never forget-y.
It feels like nothing I do can go wrong. I have no real ownership over anything, and nothing I do has any real risk or lasting impact. What I'm describing here is the strategic depth of the Pharaoh campaign, and this was suddenly thrown out the window because my only real incentive to do what Total War is all about, conquering your enemies...
I was thinking he was gonna say battles. It's conquering your enemies... Yeah, sure, that's at a stretch, but battles more specifically.
Expanding your territory, simplified to that base gameplay loop of increasing my resource production. I couldn't care less about the character I was at war with, the territory they owned, or anything. I get into a civil war and yet don't even need to fight anyone in that war and only need to focus on maximizing my legitimacy. And all of these layers of mechanics have no real opportunity cost to engaging with them. They're not interconnected enough to make them meaningful, and I don't feel like anything is at stake. In my second playthrough, all the nice-to-haves became empty shells, and I was left with a shallow, unappealing campaign.
But it took
yes.
Wait. It took you 3 campaigns to realize that. What?
Yeah. That's what I've been saying, right? Is like people list off all these features and mechanics and stuff, but they like Termy said, credit to him is even though he was shilling it, but now he's saying it is it just becomes an empty nothing. I've done this, I've seen this. It's not dynamic at all anymore.
But the problem is, it screws you over in a way, because if your past videos were praising games for these same exact points, even if the systems were exactly the same, but here you're switching gears and you're talking it in a negative manner, like, does this mean you've changed your views on the past games as well? Or there's this dissonance where it's good over here or bad over here, but it's good over there? three hole campaigns till you started to have that thing peeled off your eyes.
Pain. And this is exactly the same feeling I got to with battles as well. Bronze Age warfare is quite simple. There's really not a lot that...
I am going to have to rub off. Campaign is all that matters. Oh, no.
I wasn't that ambitious, okay? I'm still banking on the no mention of multiplayer whatsoever. I'm banking on that one.
We'll see.
Is he gonna... Okay, first... Okay, I have to see. Are they gonna talk about battle difficulty modifiers and no mention of... Look, these things aren't permanent, by the way. So if we watch another video and they mention a point, you gotta cross that off. Sorry. It doesn't count.
Oh, no.
You can do for unit variety or the play style.
Unit variety?
Unit variety.
What was the full sentence?
This is exactly the same feeling I got to with battles as well. Bronze Age warfare is quite simple. There's really not a lot that you can do for unit variety or the play styles.
Oh. He's blaming it on the setting rather than the like, come on, like that's such a cheap shot to go for. You could have done so much with it. Like if you just had the basic, if you got rid of the difficulty modifiers and had just basic melee, spear, raiders. Raiders are basically, there's no cavalry in this game. You have raiders who are like fast infantry, and then skirmishers. If you balance those well against each other, I mean, you can do a lot with that. It's four-way counters.
In battles, and it has to be said, despite all of that, Sophia have done everything they can to make rosters feel to be said.
Chariots. My chariots did not move that well. Okay, where is this? This is doctored footage. My chariots did not. No. I'm sorry, they don't move like that.
Sophia have done everything they can to make rosters feel different, but it's just not good enough because we.
Everything they can, I disagree.
Still have age-old issues in battles that have not been resolved.
Oh, it's coming.
And likely can't be resolved due to reusing the same engine over and over again.
Oh, I didn't mention the engine. That was such an easy point. I did not write it down. I did not write it down, the point about criticizing the engine.
Engine. Boosh.
Oh my god, this guy is like, you're up 3 right now. Are they connected?
No, they're not connected. They're not connected yet.
Oh, okay. I'm getting really nervous right now.
We've still got huge collision issues, which means chariots, for example, one of the most interesting and beautiful units in the game, often get stuck into enemy units and become really difficult to maneuver. We've still got issues like unit responsiveness, where you'll give an order and they essentially won't carry it out and do something completely different. And pathfinding is still a problem as well, especially in minor settlements where units clip into buildings, spread out, and just don't fight effectively. Now, it's true that battles have been...
Okay, so far he's not mentioned the difficulty modifiers. He's not going to mention difficulty modifiers.
Slowed down, and that adds an initial really nice perception of realism, which is good.
Realism. Did you get that one?
Realism.
General point about realism.
Have a look. Nope.
To see, but they've been slowed down because of one thing, and it's not balanced enough in my opinion just yet. Your frontline units basically hold out much longer than before, and that's really because they have this degrading armor mechanic, essentially playing the role of the Warhammer shields. So while all that armor percentage is still going, you can rest assured the frontline will hold, which is all well and fine, but what needs to happen to...
Yeah, but it's just extra hit points. That's literally it. You just basically you're getting extra hit points. So it's not modeled in a way where, okay, that maybe they're more vulnerable from the rear. Okay, they take extra damage from archers or whatever. I'm pretty sure that was the same in Medieval 2, where there's more damage done if you shoot a unit in the back.
Yeah.
To balance that out is a more robust and impactful morale system that just does not exist yet.
Does not exist yet? It existed before they got rid of it.
There is stuff out there that shows that they can do it in this engine. Juggernauts mod.
in this engine. Their own games, not even mods. Their own games did it at one point. 3 of them, 4 of them. If you can, okay, well, 3 of them if you can't Follow the Samurai as its own like expansion, like by itself as a game. They did it 3 times.
Its own saga.
Like, no, they all have this like huge blind spot. Like sometimes they remember Rome 1 or whatever, or Medieval 2, but then the whole Empire era, Shogun 2, like it just doesn't exist. Like it's not there in the discussion. It just starts at Rome 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
A general
Give me that good Rome 2 crap. I want to see if he's gonna make I'm sensing there's gonna be like a Rome 2 thing towards the end of the video, like contrasting it towards that game or something, because that's like the first that's like the first person in this lineage of cursed games.
For example, should have more of an impact on your morale. Getting flanked or rear charged or losing a settlement victory point should have more of an impact, but it doesn't. So what you end up with is 15 to 20 minute battles where you can obliterate an army with high casualties, but individual units just don't break quickly enough. And if they do, they come back and you have to chase them off. And in a game with little to no units that are fast enough to do that,
that is also true.
Incredibly frustrating time. All of this means that battle balancing across the
that is true. Like a lot of the stuff was just
Sure.
even militia units were just absolute brawl. Okay, I remember there was one specific battle that I just quit my Ramses campaign at, where I was fighting. It was literally just a 1v2, like 1 stack versus 2 stacks, or 1 versus 1.5. And I had this massive, like, huge hill to take advantage of, and I did that. And I think
I watched that.
Yeah, that was towards the end of it. I tried that battle so many times. I tried the basic hill defense kind of thing. I got the general early, luckily, but they all just rallied anyway. That's the thing. Apparently, killing the general doesn't cause them to shatter. They just rally in the end anyway. And then you got to do the whole process again. And then I tried, you know what, let me try another strategy where I go for the divide and conquer. I try and attack the reinforcements first and defeat them as quickly as possible, and then swing around to fight the main army. But of course, because you can't resolve that quickly, the main army shows up anyway and they link up.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
Morale in this game is just...
It's false advertising. It's false advertising.
Probably Warhammer.
It's false advertising.
Probably Warhammer.
I don't.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Varieties of units, unit types, and faction rosters needs rebalancing, especially on the morale side of things. It just needs a major look over. And then there's the infamous Total War Battle AI.
Okay, so no mention of modifiers. I'm gonna cross that. Look, I'm gonna. You know what? I've had a bad day so far, not getting any of these points. I'm gonna just cross that one off. Okay, I'm gonna take that. I am going to. I declare myself I have earned this point fair and square. Why is this not? No talk about battle difficulty modifiers. I get that. I get that. I earned it. Okay. Anyway.
It was not going to happen. None of them are going to talk about that. Nobody talks about it.
They don't play it on Legendary. I bet. Did he mention at any point what difficulty he was playing on? No, 0, nothing, nil. Okay.
Add that after waiting on this special AI reinforcement calculation message, the AI reinforcements arrived right next to my army, and as they poured into the map, they completely tried to ignore my army to go join the settlement, and the settlement garrison just stood there while I destroyed.
Yep, that's been a problem for ages. They just go, like even in Shogun 2, they just ignore your units for the most part and just try to rush straight for the fort and just get slaughtered. Even archers, like they'll just run straight into melee trying to get to the fort. It's atrocious.
I want to show you something real quick then. That's the case. Room 2. Here we go. Boom.
Wait, let me see. Can I? Okay, because I had this flipped around. I need to see this. Oh my god, we have an infinite mirror effect going, do we? No? Maybe. Yeah, we have a bit of an infinite mirror effect. Show me.
I'm trying to find the point.
Yeah, I see your bingo text over here.
Yeah, I'll change the screen to
my unit diversity.
This man here.
Oh, Oh, Rome 2. Oh, Angry Joe. Holy crap.
Yeah.
The old timer.
Yeah.
I remember I used to come back. I came back. I used to like watch this review like every day coming back from school, like back when when it came out. Like it was just I was just like so captivated. Like I was just playing Shogun 2 yesterday, and that game was amazing. How was it this bad? What do you do?
It's somewhere. It happens. Oh, here it is. There it is.
Oh.
In the map. They'll try to push right past them to get to the stupid fucking flag behind you, all while being slaughtered and murdered the whole way. They're just fucking trying to push through everybody.
And
you know
and
what's
also
happening
that's
here,
that's the
guys?
health bar thing.
I'll tell you exactly what's happening here. You can even see the general unit. He's trying to sneak through here. What's happening is the fucking flags once again. All the AI cares about is those flags. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to get past the Spartan forces to get to the flag behind in the.
So this is a Rome 2 bug.
The thing is, the part of it is the health bars. Like if you notice over here, like they're still pouring through, even though like they should not be able to. It's because of the health bars.
Yeah.
Like they there's no like one hit attack that kills them. They just keep on pushing through and slowly losing health bars and whatever. And eventually, because there's so many of them, some of them are gonna pour through. And that happened like I did in the battle tests once, where it was just complete nonsense. It was just complete nonsense where you can't where you even though you routed the unit finally, okay, you finally routed that unit, it just doesn't die. The men all survived. Like it went from like 45 men being completely surrounded by 2,000, and they pushed right through, and maybe 40 of them survived. Good game design, amazing, truly amazing.
Of moments just
But it's incredible to me that behavior from Rome 2 that people were like trashing is reoccurring again in Troy 10 years later.
Yeah,
Pharaoh
but
10
that's
years
what
later.
happens when people don't point it out or don't play the games. They auto-resolve the battles. That's what happens. This is what happens when you auto-resolve battles most of the time. Don't pick up on this stuff.
like this, where the AI army is confused and clearly doesn't know what personality behavior to go for based on the unit types on the battlefield and their placement, from garrison units that can be sniped without any response to AI chariots suiciding into spear walls. The age-old issue of Total War AI is as bad as it gets, and that's just really a choice.
Can you replay that a second? Now,
Okay.
I want you to pay attention to when those chariots were getting
Or
a ton of spears thrown at them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my end with Gilded, but check the frame. Oh, excuse me. Check the frame rate on that.
Frame rate?
Army to go join
Yeah.
the settlement, and the settlement garrison just stood there while I destroyed them. There are plenty of moments just like this where the AI army is
It wasn't the first time. There was another time like where the frame rate was really bad.
and clearly doesn't know what personality
Right.
behavior to go for based on the unit types on the battlefield and their placement, from garrison units that can
And just copyright. No copyright bots.
be sniped without any response to AI chariots suiciding into spear walls. The age-old
Oh, whoa.
issue.
Whoa.
Yeah, like this part here, the frame rate is terrible. Like the performance is terrible, and I don't want to say. I'm not going to say that Jimmy has a bad rig. I have no doubt that he has a very good rig.
Maybe he captured this in a really bad frame rate or something. Like the game isn't actually like this. It's just the OBS is dropping frames. I want to chalk too much up to this. I myself. Well, they said in the pre release patch, there was a patch like just before release or whatever. Other YouTubers were talking about how they were getting like sudden like stutters or frame drops. So maybe that's from there. But I didn't. When I played the game, I didn't encounter it. I didn't get any. I got hard crashes to desktop. That's a different thing. But when the game was running, I was not seeing those weird frame drops. Okay.
Issue of Total War AI is as bad as it gets, and that's just really a chore for the player to deal with. There needs to be more effort here. It just all forced me to auto-resolve everything at a certain point.
Brilliant. That's what they wanted to do this whole time.
That's all. That's what 90% of the new Total War player base does. So of course, they've catered to that.
That's the thing. It's not like this is CA messing up. This is what they've been working to intentionally. They've been very. It's at this point, like, you have to say it's deliberate. Like, there's no way they reached the point where this all coincidentally made the battle so bad. Like, it's just messed up on so many levels. You have to think, come on. There's no way. There's no way. At least part of this isn't intentional.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, how many times have we seen on the r/TotalWar subreddit them just talk about how they just do campaigns? They just like to see the map painted, the color, the faction color.
And then the thing is, they will literally explicitly say, just, they should copy. Like, if somebody has a problem, they should do this thing what Paradox does, like some insert mechanic here. And then that makes you think, so you're all probably just coming from Paradox games or something like that. That's what's really happening here.
I replied to a comment not too long ago. I think it was on Volan subreddit, where they were like, they should just do what
Paradox does.
EU4 does.
Yes.
EU4.
I played that
I was
game,
like, what?
1,000 hours.
Why?
1,000 hours. It's crap. Don't buy it. Okay. And that's before we even get to the DLC, scummy DLC policy. It's like if you thought Warhammer 2 was bad or whatever with, I don't know, like 200, how much did you have to pay for that game? $200 to get everything?
Yeah, something like that. Something crazy. Like
how does something like $300 sound for EU4 or something? You get all that sweet content. You know what you get for your hard-earned money? You get the cool. I still remember that mechanic to this day because it turned me off the game. Okay, the cool estates mechanic. Where, keep in mind, this is EU4, where there's like 1,000 provinces on the map or something, or 1,200, and each province has its own estates that you assigned it. You have to go manually clicking on each and every one, trying to balance numbers over here. You want to make sure there's 4 estates and you want to balance them so that not one of them becomes too powerful. If they become too powerful, there's they're gonna try making demands, and then maybe a civil war breaks out or something. The problem is, it's easy to balance it out, right? It's just easy. You look at the percentages and you just balance them out. Cool. You spend 10 or 15 minutes balancing them out. You hit the play button because the game, you can pause it and give orders. You hit the play button after doing that for 10 minutes, and then you get a random event that gives 10% to one of the estates. Just a random fuck off event that gives a 10% and slides them into the too powerful category. And now you gotta go removing territories from certain estates or from them to give to other people. And it's just constant hamster wheel kind of crap. It's just that. That's what Total War players want in Warhammer, Total War, or Total War players generally now, the current ones, want from their Total War game. They want that. They want Total War Pharaoh. That is the end game.
I'm being straight up with you. Like you talk about that, and that sounds exactly like what everyone has been demanding for in the political system. The politics. And I don't know exactly how to word it. I've been trying to formulate exactly how to articulate it, but honestly, dude, I cannot care to go through menus and sub-menus and menus of sub-menus of characters and political stats and then also bring up a second and third monitor with spreadsheets. It looks like I'm trying to do
wait. Sorry. Yeah. You gotta leave one of the monitors for Reddit. You gotta if you're in the middle of a battle and it's taking really long, because it takes forever to mail. You might want to check Reddit. During the battle, you might.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is I don't want to have all these sub menus where I'm just going through plus minus stat bonuses and stuff like that between these political systems, just to balance it. And oh god, I don't even know how to word it. But like you said, those estates, I don't want to do that. That's the most boring use of my time in a Total War game I can think of.
Which, for a game known for its battles, is a major disappointment.
Known for its battles? Not anymore.
What's good here is that the battle maps look beautiful. The music...
Oh, he's plays... Wait, no, I already crossed that off. Sorry. I already crossed that off. The game is really pretty. Whatever.
And the ambient sound effects of troops marching and chariots rolling is really nicely done, and the various fire effects, the weather changes, the desert landscape of Egypt, the mountainous and forest terrain of Anatolia is all...
The thing is, even when he does the negative stuff, like actually pointing out the bad stuff, he still does the vague praise in the end, like to almost like to balance it out or something. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it failed in every way.
Almost. Sorry. Don't. Sorry, my dude Nasmer. Sam, do not misquote, misrepresent people's claims. Okay.
Yeah,
He said almost. Okay.
almost every
Almost.
way.
I know that 7 minutes of the video so far, maybe in total, has been praising it vaguely, but still.
All
How's he
beautifully
gonna
done.
wrap this up?
They all make enough of a visual difference at least to add some variety, some spice to the battles. The city maps especially are some of the most gorgeous I've seen in any Total War game. They're absolutely massive, and CA Sofia have really outdone themselves here. Everything does a
I don't know. It doesn't look like much of an improvement from Rome 2, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really look that much.
They say this every
Sofia
new
have
Total
really
War.
outdone
Three
themselves
Kingdoms,
here.
dude. The
Everything.
settlements and the sieges in that game was the best I've ever seen. Britannia came out and people went, dude, the sieges are
They still
the
say
best
that.
of the
They
settlements.
still say that. By the way, you know, Thrones of Britannia has been because Pharaoh has failed or whatever. Thrones of Britannia is having its revival on Reddit, on forums. Like, oh my god, you know, like people are talking about it. Like, I think this might be their marketing strategy. Like, how do you get people to get interested in your bad game? Release a worse game after it, and now the bad game before sounds it's a masterpiece. Did you hear it?
It's a big.
I have a bridge and a hidden gem of a game to sell you guys.
Yeah. It's a massive, like, it's just a constant cascading cheerleader effect. If you bring in something even worse, it makes the others look better by comparison.
This is how we got here. I guess it's all making sense now.
Does a decently good job at immersing you in this time period. But while visuals and sound effects are all nice, the gameplay simply boils down to melee on melee, ranged on ranged, and who has the heaviest and most elite units.
God, it's like music to my ears.
There's no gameplay variety here, and as we discussed, it's extremely easy to get very good units early on.
Yeah, it's not fair that he said the same bingo point 7 times. Like, come on, spread them out. But at least I said variety like 7 times.
In your campaign, so manual battles become very quickly a chore, especially against a brain-dead AI. The fact is, a good game, regardless of Total War or Bronze Age,
Oh my god, he's gonna make a general claim about good game design. Oh my god, I'm so interested to hear what Terminator thinks about good game design in general. Oh,
should be
I did not expect this to come with this video, but I'll take that serving.
worth hundreds, if not ideally thousands of hours. Standing on its own merits, to me, Pharaoh is at most a 5 out of 10.
What would you give it?
I would give it very confidently. I mean, if 1 out of 10 signifies the game that doesn't launch, like it doesn't function, then I guess it gets a 2 out of 10. So yeah, such high standards. I mean, if it was like an isolated game, like this is the upstart studio or whatever, I might, you know, I'll give them a 4. Okay, it's a start. Okay, I understand these things can be difficult to make from scratch or whatever, or what, even if you're using if you're using ready-made assets or whatever. But got 20 years. You remember when CA made games that were featured on TV or whatever, like Rome Total War? I've heard tales about that.
It was a golden age.
It was a different time. And the past was a different.
Lost technology.
The past was a different. The past was a different country, as they say.
Everything just feels like half of what it should be. Great mechanics that are not engaging enough, character-driven factions that have no replayability, a stunning campaign map that's only half of the Bronze Age world, and slower-paced battles that have half the balance or AI intelligence that they should have. All of this is simply a missed opportunity.
How about we skip to the next video? Real quick.
Yep.
What was that? Total War Pharaoh Toth or what's the name of it?
Oh, this one's going to be a rough one.
Oh, Toth. What is it called? Can you check your Discord DM and tell me what it's called?
It is called.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Andy's Take just released a mod video 4 hours ago for Pharaoh. He stopped covering the game and said, "Oh no! Oh boy, you ready for a detour here, man?"
Total War Pharaoh has been out.
Hey! Look! I get to cross off a bingo over here.
So do I. Yeah. So
how mods are saving Total War. I get to cross off that bingo right away from the title.
mods will fix everything. Bada boom, bada bing.
Okay, I have a bingo point over here that says unit diversity is lacking. But the second part of it is like there's a semicolon and compares it to Warhammer for some reason. Do I get it even though I got half of it?
Yeah.
Do I get to cross that even though I got half of it only?
Get it out of it. Unless you get a bingo, because I want the bingo win.
Okay, well I'll take it. I guess I'll take it. Okay, I have 4 points now, but they're all disconnected from one another, so you don't worry about that. Oh boy. All right.
For just about a week's time. But even now there are mods out there that vastly enhances the experience in almost every way.
Oh my god, the words.
If you want to check out my massive review of Pharaoh, you can do that too. But right now, I'll show you how to make the original experience so much better. And trust me, your experience will be better. On that note, if you haven't subbed to the channel yet, then I hope you...
If you start from 0, then it's already that difficult.
The modder has more than earned it.
Let me ask you. What have modders possibly done so good? I'm gonna guess right now. Unit variety, which is just reskins and stat shuffling.
You don't get to add this to your bingo card. Okay, you don't.
I'm not adding it to my bingo card. This is my prediction
okay.
of what Andy's take is going to say. This is my prediction of what Andy's going to say is makes the game so much better. Unit variety mods, which just reskin and rename and stat shuffle units. I don't even know. Like that's it. That's it. That's all they can do in this point. Cannot think of anything else. Some campaign.
I have a bingo point over here that just says in quotes the vibe. And this guy uses it a lot. If he does not use that in this video, I am gonna.
Agony for Pharaoh is said to be a total overhaul mod for the game, and I say Agony for Pharaoh because if you play Troy, there's already an incredible mod for that game, also called Agony, made by the same modder, Ganasa. The first thing I want to tell you about Agony is that this will change how you look at Pharaoh.
Okay, I'm stopping there for the copyright. Yes, no copyright coming after me. Okay. So much better.
It's quickly changing my opinion of it, both on the campaign and the action-filled battles. And if you're looking for even more action...
Oh no! Paid Shadow Legends?
Wait, did he... No!
Is this raid? Is this raid? Is this... I don't know. I only ever, like... I immediately clicked off of the raid ad, so I have no idea what it looks like.
Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Dungeon Hunter 6.
Okay.
It's not raid, but...
It's not even the first Dungeon Hunter. It's the 6th one. I missed out on the first five of them.
I missed out 1 through 5. Oh, jeez. I gotta go back and catch up on Dungeon Hunters, baby.
God, okay. That's a skip through most... a good chunk of the video. Well...
are not including meaningful population numbers anymore, making for less strategic experiences. Well, not with Agony, because this mod does the incredible thing of actually adding meaningful populations to settlements. But that's just the beginning of the awesomeness at display here. For you see, population is now not just a number, but an actual proper resource.
Okay, I'm stopping there.
I need to see that. So I will say population in the DEI mod for Rome 2 is actually pretty impressive. If they do something like that here for them, all I've got to ask is why the fuck isn't it in base game?
I don't know. The problem is even when they do these things that are good on their own, like they sound like good things on their own, they just get kneecapped by the other restrictions, like the whole army system and everything. It just gets just kneecapped, you know, like it's just sit back down. You just it's like the whole crabs in the bucket, you know, that the whole phenomenon. If you put crabs in the bucket, they can't climb out because they're all holding onto each other. Yes, it's the same thing over here.
And it's not just the
I agree.
resource.
Like the entire population mechanics, as cool as they can be with DEI and stuff like that. Like you said, it's the army limiters or the fact that they're ball and chain to a general. You can't, if you have the population to do it, you wouldn't be able to spam out a ton of like individual micro armies to just like
garrison settlements,
garrison stuff up, send out a bunch of micro armies to wear down and scout.
And the thing is, assuming if they're gonna bring in population, they need to do something about the outpost system, because the way the outpost system works and how, like, I think I mentioned earlier, the outpost system is like if you build one of the military outposts, it gives you like a free garrison, like it gets its own garrison. And if the main settlement is attacked, that garrison also reinforces the main settlement. And you can probably figure out that's terrible for expansion, because you have to bring now 2 or 3 stacks to take over a major settlement, because now not only are you fighting the army, you're fighting the army, if there's an army in the settlement, you're fighting the garrison in the settlement, because it doesn't do the thing where it removes the free garrison units. If you have a full stack and you don't get any of the free units, then you don't have any of the slots left over. You get the full stack with the full garrison, and then the garrison from all the military outposts. So it's just not like, it's just, you bring 2 stacks or 3 stacks and just doom stacking everything. So you don't even need the population mechanic, because you can just defend everything over it. You don't even need to move units around.
Yeah.
But it's also divided in 3: peasants, commoners, and nobles. Each province, depending on your buildings, enables a larger or smaller increase of pops, both for province growth and military recruitment. What's interesting here though is that we have both a local population pool that determines population growth and the growth of your idle workforce.
I preferred the older system where, like, if you open up the economy tab in Medieval 2, where it shows you like all the individual factors and they each have their own icon. Like, instead of it just being -15 this and then text and then -15 that, you have, like, if it's for plague, you have actual rats displayed and everything. So it's like all very easy to like parse. I don't know. I think that was a more legible design. Like the UI still doesn't, the way it's designed just still doesn't help with these mechanics.
Oh god, the UI. You want to talk about UI? Three Kingdoms is. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Event Horizon. One of the characters in it rips his eyes out. That was me when I was playing Three Kingdoms with its UI.
My eyes, that game made my eyes burn like after 10 minutes. Like literally, actually, like it was. My eyes were burning just playing that game. I don't know what it was. I couldn't. If it was the UI itself or if it was just the graphical quality. Like the campaign map is just very. It's very.
Ugly game. Ugly game.
Yeah.
With its UI. Like, that's the thing, is on my last video about Total War is Dead and stuff, people are like, so you didn't mention Three Kingdoms, and that was pretty good. I was like, I cannot fathom how you think it's good, because I play in 15-minute segments. I'm like, I can't. This UI is so bad. It's painful, and it just makes me want to throw my monitor out the window.
And the thing is, the way the one little interesting detail, quirk about that game's UI. Last time I played it, like literally just a few weeks ago, when you go into the building panel, like you select the settlement and you go into the building panel, if you hover your mouse over the way it's designed, you have the main settlement icon over here, and then you have the recruitment icon for so you have, like, this is the settlement icon over here. And this is the recruit army icon over here, raise army, just above it. If you hover your mouse over the main settlement, it pops up the upgrade tab for that building, and it covers the recruit unit icon. So you have to move your mouse off, like over to the side of the screen first to make the pop-up go away, so that you can click on the recruit army. I'm like, what on earth?
It's so bad, man.
You have windows actually covering other windows, and you have to move your mouse away just to get back to the
icons covering over icons, and then like element icons and labels over each other, like parts of the UI on the tables at the bottom covering over it. It's awful, and I hate it. And what was wrong with the original Rome and Medieval 2 games? Easy. Flag. Legible, like that is a city. It's on the campaign map, very easy to see, and then a nice cool little table bar maybe sub-menus right next to it. Simple. That's all you needed. When you needed more information, you would click it relevantly, and a nice little sub-menu would come up, and it was legible. Now I need to go into sub-menus of sub-menus to read like 20 different statistics and...
Yeah, I think you have to, and Pharaoh, you have to go through like 4 different menus. Like if you first open up the tech tab, the technology tab, you want to find out more details about technology, like what units it what units the building like unlocks or whatever, and then you have to go. It shows you the building, and then you have to click on one of the icons for what the like. It's just like 3 or separate 4 windows that you have to go through to finally find out what building that tech, or sorry, what unit you can recruit if you unlock that tech. Exactly,
dude. And then like the worst of it all is the relationship tree web. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you remember that one. It's where you want to see how like all the relationships work among the different characters
in Rome, or
how they're all interconnected, and the web just looks like tangled Christmas lights. It's awful.
God, oh my God.
A global enlisted population pool.
But you know, that's not. Don't make your mistake. Okay, that's the Horsham studio. We got the Sophia good guys on one end. You know, we're cheering for them. Like this weird thing. Where did it come from? Where did the whole Sophia thing come from? Like where?
I don't know. I feel like they're a fall guy. Purposely set up to be the fall guy.
No, it's like. Is there like a resource or something that indicates this, like an official document or something that points to this, or did they just make up this thing and run with it? Like the Sophia devs are the good guys. Like, where did it come from? Is this like some weird community myth folklore thing or something? The community has reached a point where they have their own folklore and their legends and whatever, and their own myths that they tell each other. But
they gather around the campfire and they say,
one day,
the distant land of
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. There is a studio. Some say actually cares about us. Oh, but under the oppressive thumb of Aku, I mean Creative Assembly Notion. Like, whatever, dude. I don't care. They make crap games. That's all I care about. I don't care if on social media they're very receptive to my complaints. It's not showing through.
Wow, these people are so starved of attention, you know, like, oh, this employee that I don't know from this company this person that I'll never meet acknowledged me on social media. Oh, that made my day. That's actually depressing. It's not funny.
That's where I think it came from.
Which I have made that point before. Let us not make this, leave this point unmentioned. I made this point before. I'll keep on making it. They are not selling games anymore. They are selling community experiences. They're selling the whole idea of we get to gather in this online space, and our badge, you know, of being part of this community is that we bought the game. Okay. Did we play it? No, but we're just going to talk about it 24/7, how great it is.
Yeah.
Rome 2, the greatest game of all time that nobody plays.
You to actually recruit units. These are interconnected in that admin centers and military buildings actually convert a certain population number to enlistment income, i.e. a larger fighting ready population. But once you actually recruit, you draw from the global pool of enlisted pops, not from the local population. In other words, once you have enlisted pops, you don't have to worry about directly diminishing the local population.
Oh, come on.
Well, that's pointless then.
If you were gonna do it, you should have like made it like, that's half the point. Half the point is that is that war-torn settlements are just a worse source of, or military recruitment centers are just a worse source of population. Like the population growth is worse. Global, really?
Where you are stationed, as the pops are already made ready for war and removed from the workforce. Since we have peasants, commoners, and nobles, it affects how we recruit units. Units are now completely tied to pops as they are to other resources, and in this version of the mod, they're either tied to the peasants, commoners, or the noble pop depending on their tier level. This means that your regular low to medium tier units will be recruited by using peasants.
Okay, I'm stopping there for the whole copyright.
Just to confirm there, he mentioned that there was an entire separate population, 2 separate populations for workforce and recruitment.
This version of the mod, they're either tied to the peasants, commoners, or the noble pop dependencies. How we remove the local population where you come, i.e. a larger fighting-ready population.
To go back further,
a local population pool that determines population growth and the growth of your idle workforce, and a global enlisted population pool, which allows you to actually recruit units. These are interconnected in that admin centers. And
I like how the peasants and commoners are just denoted as resource. It's just a funny detail.
Links actually convert a certain.
Well, I don't know if he mentioned. You only talked about the enlisted thing. You didn't talk about the separate population for workforce
tier level. This means that your regular low to medium tier units will be recruited by using peasants, and higher tier units will drain the commoner or the noble pop resource. You of course need all the regular resources as well, like food and bronze, but the addition of pops to simulate an available fighting fit population adds so much to the experience, as you can even disband units to return the respective peasant or noble numbers back in.
Okay, well, it could have been interesting if this was in the base game and done well. But, we're celebrating the fact that we modded stuff that was in past games.
Into the population pool. The pump system is deep then, and ties not only into the local province-wide growth, but also the global faction reserve system, which armies draw from when they recruit new units. But what you basically need to know is that more enlisted peasant, commoner, and noble pops equal more bonus income of resources, a new skybox, and a more muted lighting filter.
Oh yeah, by the way, the skybox, I think there was a skybox glitch or something that somebody showed in the picture where it was literally just Troy. Like they literally just took the Troy.
Oh yeah. Seen that. With the Mount Olympus showed up in Total War Pharaoh.
I think there was a similar thing with reused assets in like Warhammer 3 on the campaign map, where if you got like a whole X-ray glitch or something and saw like down in the map, you could see like all these leftover assets from the previous Warhammer game.
Which you can soon revert back to vanilla through a submod.
Hey, but what's the chaos? Chaos, like
yeah,
chaos.
The chaos warp magic. Ooh.
I wonder what the excuse is this time.
Now actually need workforce to build outposts, and even important battle map changes like damage values, larger battlefields.
I want to get towards the battle part.
Game. These are still incredibly early days for Agony, and everything you saw here is work in progress and soon to be released, but just a week in and it's already making massive waves in Pharaoh, and I can't wait to see how this mod is going to keep on changing and expanding over time. Agony is of course a total overhaul mod, but if you want to add on to it or play vanilla.
Okay, we're gonna get in.
Alright, well, more power to the Agony developer, and just like I have more power to Juggernaut for his mod. Rebirth for Warhammer. The ultimate point I'm going to stay with here every single time is just like with like Bethesda games, modders should not be making the game good. Modders should not be the ones to make the game or not even just making the game good, but reintroducing features that are basic to Total War.
And then
why is it the fan base and their free like efforts and labor have to fix this shit?
I'm trying to think, like, what do you think about the ethics of making these kinds of videos about like showcasing all these mods? Like, on the one hand, maybe you're interested in it, but at the same time, like, you're encouraging people to buy. You're giving the money to the company that made the bad game, but of course the people who supposedly made it good aren't getting any of that. Unless they're relying on donations or something.
Yeah, I would. So, I've told you, like, I don't know if I've told you, but I'm probably going to make a video showcasing Juggernaut's mod, and I think you've done it as well.
I already did the overall like overview thing, and I did like 2 multiplayer battles with Safe and Juggernaut, and I think it was us 3. Yeah. So.
The general sentiment I'm doing it with is not to promote Warhammer 2, right? The way I'm going about it is to say, like, listen, Warhammer 2 exists. It's like 7 years old now, right? And a lot of my audience who will be watching it have it in their Steam libraries already, and the refund policy is gone. So if you agree with me that the game is like lackluster in terms of its battles and such, here is a way to resolve that. And it's Juggernaut. All credits go to him for this effort. I would recommend going and supporting him and his endeavors. That's how I would do it. What I would not do ever in my life is if another Cyberpunk dropped within 2 weeks of it coming out.
But didn't you read all those articles? Didn't you read all those articles? 2 years and it's fine. Cyberpunk is what it should have been. You know, sorry, Cyberpunk is amazing.
Mate, one day I will be getting around to Cyberpunk. But
Cyberpunk.
If a game like Cyberpunk came out, I would not 2 weeks into the game's coming out that's just terrible be promoting mods that are so crazy, cool, wacky, awesome, flying cars in Cyberpunk.
Disclaimer,
and encouraging people to buy it.
Disclaimer, I have not played any of these mods.
Yes.
I have not played them, but I am sure they're great.
Yeah, it's like it's
Please
kind of like
comment, and subscribe. I have a Patreon link in the description too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be encouraging people who are maybe apprehensive to then go and purchase a bad game to just fix it with mods from other people's work. I think
let's be real. Okay, if you had the promotional link in your YouTube channel, YouTube video description, and you got some sweet passive income from people buying would that change your perspective on it? Maybe I think you're just jealous of all these people, honestly. Maybe you look at these guys and like they've all quit their jobs to go and promote these amazing video games, and you just look at them and you're creating all these fake moralistic excuses for why you're in the office and they're out making those sweet bucks from Total War.
When you put it that way, passive income. I am on that Andrew Tate grind set mindset. I'm part of the war room, baby.
You said Andrew Tate or Andrew Tate? Sorry, I get mixed between the two.
You know, it's all about that grind.
Some sweet grind. Passive income. What I really value is knowledge.
I wake up at 4 a.m. and shill 5 games by the time 6 a.m. rolls around.
sweet pat, all the cold showers and the black coffee, by the way. But with words of affirmation in the mirror. Anyway, okay, let's because we're running short on time, I think, at this point. What did you say, Pharaoh? Thoth, right? Thoth. Thoth. That's what you said. Thoth. It's Thoth good.
I watched
what I said is like when I saw this, I'm like, is this a Warhammer reference? Some obscure Warhammer reference that I don't get? Like,
I think it's an Egyptian god or something like that. Off.
Total War Pharaoh's player count is shocking. Oh,
Egyptian deity.
Let's blitz through these real quick, okay?
Pharaoh Total War's player count is not doing that great. And I, for one, am a lover of the Bronze Age. I, for one, don't want to see this game fail. But at the same time, there are flaws within the game that obviously have to be acknowledged. And I'll be more than happy to point out within this video what these flaws are. And many content creators have been talking about, how Pharaoh is a decent game.
I like how if you took away, by the way, if you just clicked off on this UI, you wouldn't be able to tell what was going on here. They're literally just a blob, like an ant swarm.
That's a blob. It's actually a good game, guys.
Yeah. So I was sorry. I didn't say the last part of that sentence in 2 years after 17 patches, maybe.
But this game
is getting abandoned real quick, by the way. Let's get this out of the way.
Yeah.
It's beset by the limitations that it already has. The limitations of...
Did they patch it since release, by the way? Did they release anything? Like anything at all? Like... any sign
patch.
any sign of life on this game? I'd be surprised.
Patch notes and announcements. Let's look up here. We have the multiplayer patch.
Oh, how did I forget that? But it still crashed. It still crashed.
Yeah.
It still crashed.
Still crashed.
I remember. Yeah, I remember it still crashed. When I tried it out after that. Yep, it did. Hard crashed desktop. But it's like I'm the only person playing multiplayer, so like if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, did it really fall? I'm the only. And I was not on the leaderboard. I went to check the next day, even though I won a match. I was not on the leaderboard at all, like 34, 35 people. I was not there. They're rewriting history as we speak.
Just blacklisting you from the leaderboards. But so like in that leaderboard though, did you have enough wins to justify being on there?
There were people who had 0 wins. I had 1. My 1 win. They erased my 1 win from the river of history. Can you imagine? I feel
just threw it.
I for the first time in my life I feel slighted. Okay.
They just threw it into the river Styx. I mean Nile.
The fact that it is based on, let's say, Warhammer and Troy, the limitations of, say, the battle engine, as it is made out to be. Now, there are plenty of people that will say, you're wrong, Medjay, you know...
Man, they have to do all of the disclaimer stuff early on, like they can't get into the points, like, oh, maybe somebody says I'm wrong or whatever. Just get on to the point, man. Get on into it.
Yes.
You're completely ignoring the game's fault. I'm not completely ignoring the game's fault. The campaign is intense. What is lacking is a lack of family tree. Okay?
Lack of family
that is
tree.
one for something that...
There is a family tree in the game, isn't there? Is there a dynastic tree? I'm pretty sure there is.
needs to be resolved. I think a family tree is needed right now. The battles do need improvement. Of course they do. The chariots, I've seen now chariots fight. Chariots are good, but they are way too slow, and they don't have...
They're not good at all. They're broken. They're not good at all. They barely do any missile damage, and even in melee, I know, like, they're... Sure, historically, they weren't used in that manner, really, but still, like, they're just crap all around. But they are good at one thing, and that's auto-resolve. They crush it at auto-resolve. Just wipe that army out of existence.
So my knowledge with the ancient chariot of Bronze Age time with regarding to Egypt is I remember watching documentaries, and the idea for the chariot was that they are basically the Scythian horse archer of that world.
Yeah.
Are they actually effective with their fucking bows?
If you kite around the enemy for 10 minutes, sure.
10 minutes. Okay. An entire battle will have gone by.
Yes. I did that in the multiplayer match, and they were just so damn ineffective, and even like charging them into the rear of battered units, they weren't routing anything either. It's just really bad overall. In fact, the only reason I think they did well in that fight maybe is because the other player, like, I don't know if they were a bot or something, but they just weren't doing anything to chase after them. So I think even like that's not even representative of how good they are.
Have the impact, let's say, as Rome 2 chariots would be. Say, for example, if I charge a line of Rome 2 chariots into
Buy it. Who is this? Who is this?
Right
Ever since Total War Pharaoh was released...
This is Total War. Okay. Just to buy it.
Oh, in this, and oh boy, okay.
Little positivity around the community, at least from what I've seen regarding Pharaoh. For example, Legend of Total War did a poll a while back ago, and the result pretty much speak for itself. And all the
I like how even who was it who did it? It was Cody Bonds, I think, who did the same poll, like, and then even his poll was just negative, like.
Everyone, I think the highest it ever got was 4%.
But
we're like, we're buying it.
But mine was the only one to get a yes majority. Okay.
I'm sure they all bought it.
You know why, right? Yes was the only option on the survey.
It was the only only option.
Polls I've seen has a very similar result. Myself, I have been trying not to get my feelings drawn too much into anything here since the announcement a few months back. Neither hyped nor particularly sour about what the Thrones of Britannia was essentially a reskin of Attila. The list goes on. They have always been making use of what they already have here. My approach has...
I think he's the first person to acknowledge one of the older games. Like, we went through the whole Terminator video. He didn't mention a single one of the older Total War games.
No.
Oh, wait. Wait, did I miss something here? No mention of multiplayer whatsoever. Yeah. I get to cross that out, man. How did I miss that? Okay, I got 5 points. They're all disconnected.
rather been like, let's wait and see in how the game holds up when I get the early access key from CA. So for about the past 2 weeks, I've been putting in about 30 hours of gameplay when writing this script, and I'm pleasantly surprised, I must say. In many ways, Total War Pharaoh is worth playing in my opinion, and I usually don't do reviews, but with the negativity I've been seeing while having fun...
Oh, this is the old cliche.
Oh.
I did not want to actually make this video. This
Well,
video.
I've got this is a video I didn't want to make.
You have it?
Thing here.
You have it?
I have that right there.
Oh
Bada
my
boom,
god,
bada bing.
that's the classic.
And then I also have toxic haters are impossible to please. Now he didn't really. He kind of touched it. He kind of teased it. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
He inappropriately
he
touched
gets
it.
Yeah, he barge singed it.
That's an esoteric. That's an esoteric reference. No, but some people might not get that at this point.
It's a spicy one right there, but yeah, he touched upon it, so we'll see.
I wonder, this bargeman, is he a good guy?
Oh, he was. He's an ex-CA dev. Like,
you think he's misunderstood?
If you want to just Google him up, guys. If you don't really understand,
I don't recommend it.
maybe.
Actually, I am not in any way, shape, or form condoning this guy's supposed actions in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Don't take that as don't. Okay, but
Yeah.
what was the so you got the point for I did not want to make this video.
Yeah,
Cuffs out this video.
with the game myself while playing it made me want to...
That's going in the April Fool's video, by the way. I already have my scripting points for it, for everything, for all of the cliches that are going to go into it, and all of these Pharaoh videos are going to be there as well.
Share some of my experience with the game so far. Do note that this is not a full review of everything in the game. I am yet...
Nobody was really expecting that. Like, they're making defenses against who's making these points. Like, even when I go watch a 2-hour critique, I'm not really expecting you to cover everything in the game. Like, yeah, get the disclaimers out of the way. I don't want them. Get the edit of the video.
Full campaign, but more like a first impression review from what I've seen so far. Firstly, let's start with the battles, as this is the most important part of what makes a bad, good, or great Total War.
I agree.
I can't say anything about that's 100% correct. Whoa. These guys are on a roll with the anti-bingo card thing. Like, they made it really difficult. They made us earn every single point. I was expecting us to get it within the first 7 minutes or 8 minutes, just get all straight bingo.
Or game.
They have subverted my expectations.
One great thing here that shouldn't be overlooked is that the battles, generally speaking, actually takes a longer time now, compared to the more
The battles take a longer time. Oh, this is the old battles are too fast in this game thing, but it's battle length is kind of an arbitrary thing though. Is it 20 minutes of just spam clicking, cycle charging, or is it 20 minutes of actual because Fall of the Samurai had very long, for example, siege battles, they were very slow paced, but there's a lot of positioning that goes into positioning, defeat in detail. There's always something going on in those fights, even if they last longer. So Rome 2 had really fast battles on release, 3 minutes or something like that. People are complaining about it. That was still shit though, because they were fast.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So they're longer, so they're better. So it depends. If I'm on Warhammer, I've got 20 bloodthirsters, and it takes me 20 minutes to just right click with no thought. Yeah, and just right click, pop an ability. Right click, pop an ability. That's going to be the worst 20 minutes of my life. Whereas if I'm, like you said, jockeying for position, trying to take the high ground, trying to take key tactical areas and then maneuver and play cat and mouse and get us around, get a flank on one of them, and then it starts a chain route. And that would be 20 minutes of solid gameplay that I would enjoy. Battle length is it's a factor, but in Total War, it's definitely a factor. But there's a lot of other considerations. So maybe he gets into it. Let's find out.
Recent titles like Troy and Three Kingdoms. This opens up a bit more room for tactical maneuvers. The pace here feels pretty spot on, not insanely fast.
It's tactical maneuvers, but is he going to counterpoint that with... Is he going to mention anything about the morale being broken or whatever?
Long. Yes, the battles actually can be too long if you have a family and gaming time is limited. And while speaking about the battles being longer, one of the questions prior to the release was about their introduction of the dynamic weather. Is it going...
Reintroduction. Wait, so I think, you know, Medieval 1 had dynamic weather, I think. It was Medieval 1, and then... Did Empire have it? I think Empire had it. I'm not sure if Empire had dynamic weather. Like, it was like only one weather change per battle. Like, I vaguely remember like it starting to snow in an Empire Total War battle. I don't know if that was a glitch or if that was an actual thing, but I'm not sure. But...
Well, I can tell you that they had it all the way back in Shogun 1.
Shogun 1? You sure?
Yeah. Voland made a video where he showed that there was like storms that came in and rain, and it hadn't a tangible effect on the battle. And then eventually the rain would subside and his matchlocks could fire.
And the thing is, the way the weather is done this game, I already showed that like it nukes the accuracy of range units even at close range because the spread cheating is so hard. But you can still see units like at the same distance, like you can still see them the full battle map away. It's just completely backwards.
To matter if the battles are short like in Troy. From me, you're getting a yes and no here. The change that occurs during the battle does not always happen before the battle is over. It's very dependent on how you approach.
Also, the screen flickers when the weather changes. Like there's a very hard cut where just like it doesn't even gradually change. It's just like the screen just flickers and then like it changes weather state. It's just the one thing you were marketing.
So in a suggestion here, I don't know if they do it. Maybe they do, in which case I say good. But you know the Rome 2 line of sight system?
Yeah.
I would say that if a sandstorm rolls in, instead of that flat damage stuff,
yeah,
they should have it so that all line of sight comes down to like 5 meters. And then you are just creeping and inching around with your army blind. The enemy too, completely blind until you're able to find who's going on, and then it's just a cluster.
It's just
I think that should be a
shooting
case.
in the dark kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be cool. I don't know if they do that, but
no, they don't. In terms of
done.
visibility, like it doesn't. There's no practical difference. I could see units at the same distance.
The fight, the size of the armies, the tactical maneuvers, and such. But if there is, let's say, a sandstorm incoming that will affect, for example, the range of missile units, and you have an army composition dependent on a lot of missile units, then you really have the incentive to get going when you press
the charges.
that start button. Even if not perfectly executed, this is definitely a step in the right direction in ways to develop how the battles work and function. Weather has always played a big role in battles of history as the X factor none has ever had full control of. Another thing that plays into the
Huh? What was that reference? Was he referencing Napoleon using fog to his advantage? I remember he won the Battle of Austerlitz by like taking advantage of the fog in the early morning to move his units around.
pacing
I got that reference. I did it there.
here in Pharaoh, I think, is that the battles are not a click fest anymore to the same degree.
The battles are not a click fest anymore. Whoa, man. Whoa. Maybe not a normal. I did not catch that one in bingo. Nope, I did not put that one down.
Pharaoh,
Did you find yourself clicking, doing a big old click fest?
Yeah, it was just constant APM burden. Just right click, spam movement orders, everything. Yep, it was just awesome.
That the battles are not
It was amazing.
a fest anymore to the same degree, and broken units doesn't come back to the same degree as the case was in Troy, which was many times super annoying. I think that
It's still just like they would, even when you kill their general, they still like just rally. And the fact that you don't have cavalry and chariots aren't an early game thing for most factions, it's screwed. Like you can't. It's so hard to gain an advantage, and you can't even capitalize on it in the end.
Is he trying to say that unit quality, it isn't a case of unit quality as much as it was in Troy? Because I don't think that's true with your example.
I know that Troy had worse difficulty modifiers, but that's different from the unit quality thing. So I haven't played Troy, so I don't know. But it would be weird if Three Kingdoms had the same problem, and then Troy suddenly didn't, and then Pharaoh had it again. And then Warhammer 3 also has it.
collision between units that looks decent, and with the comeback of matched combat, where we get to see units engaging in combat animation and stuff like that when we zoom in, is very much of a relief.
Or in the match combat, he's like talking about how the collision is amazing in the match combat. As he was saying that, I just watched a unit phase through like 2 troops to go during his attack.
Well, you know, maybe those big bad Horsham managers sabotage the CA, like Sophia devs. Like, it's office politics, man. It's office politics. They're afraid of losing their jobs. Yeah.
They sent their geishas and spies over to sabotage them. Yeah.
Unplug the HDMI. Just every morning we unplug a different wire. You know, set them back on their. Maybe take a can of Red Bull out of their fridge just to mess with them. You know, like somebody was here last night.
Move everything an inch to the left.
The Horsham devs work in strange ways.
Oh, God. Let's finish this up. Let's carry on.
It was so off-putting to zoom in and have a look in both Troy and Three Kingdoms, only to see units kind of pushing each other around and randomly
I did
dying
not get
while
these
almost
chariot charges in game. How did you do this? It's fake. It's doctored footage.
Photoshop.
It's fake. I did not. I brought the heaviest chariots against militia clubmen, and they did not. They couldn't do crap against them. Where? What is this game you guys are playing? Where? Why? Who? What? How?
making a backflip. The feeling I get in Pharaoh is not as good as in Attila, but it takes me closer to that.
Not as good as Attila. I see how history has been rewritten to the point that Attila and Rome 2 are the start of the series.
Yeah.
They're just start. That's where it all starts.
Feeling at least. Overall, I think they look good. There is always room for improvement, of course, like bumping up the numbers of battle animations, for example. The one thing bugging...
I wonder if there was. I wonder if there was a Total War game where they had more battle animations. Do you know of any? I'm not sure.
I think there's potential in some like Far East and like maybe Nippon.
Oh, you mean Warhammer 3?
Oh.
Yeah, Warhammer 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I should try that out at some point. Okay. But like I only auto-resolve. I only ever like auto-resolve my battles, so I'm not sure about that.
Like I was going to say animations. That's where the problems is. That's where the problems all lie. Is there's not enough animations.
Yeah.
At the moment here is the lack of blood, to be honest.
Lack of blood?
For example, the one thing bugging me at the moment here is the lack of blood, to be honest.
Okay, he did say blood DLC. If he said lack of blood DLC, that would have been a funny one.
Another great thing here is that the generals are actual mortals and not insanely overpowered.
Whoa, that's a point that I had. Praises removal of single entity leaders, even though general units are still far too strong. I got that, okay? I got that. That counts, okay? Sorry, okay? I have 3 points that are in the same line, but they're like there's 2 together and then like 2 others separating them. Ooh. Oh, I got another one. He talked about tactics earlier. I missed that. Yeah, I have 4 in the same line. I have 1 more left. And you know what that 1 more is over here? Here it is. I got this. Blames recent controversies such as hyenas and Shadows of Change for... this is going to be a tough one. if he tries to pawn it off. I messed up. Like, I put this really hard one over here. This is oh my god. I'm so damn close. If I
you can highlight praises the diplomacy. One of them did it earlier.
Oh.
I think it was Terminator did it.
But then you went and criticized it later on, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Praises the resources system from Troy, but he did elaborate on that. I'm not gonna count that. Pharaoh needs more factions. He didn't say that. He said that needs more diversity between the factions, but he didn't say more as in DLC. Weather mechanics. That's mine. He said that just now.
Extremely vague praise. The building tech character systems vaguely points to all the Total War games.
I think I could highlight this, but it's not no talk about. Okay, cross this out.
Second point.
Yeah, which one?
Vaguely points to all the Total War games doing something good without elaborating. Wasn't that just they happened when you said the games start at Rome 2 and Attila?
No, but I specifically said anything before Rome 2, so like Rome 2 Attila don't count. Random point about Rome 2 being good. No, we didn't really have anyone say this. I was hoping for this though. I was banking on Terminator saying this towards the end, like this is a disgrace or whatever. And I was really banking on that one. I'm surprised we didn't get any of these.
Yeah,
like these seemed like these are such easy ones. I thought I put these all over here. I just have these in the bag. It's just so easy. I'm getting them for free. But no, instead I actually got this. Okay. The game is really pretty. Okay. How mods are saving Total War. Okay. Let's just get this quickly.
Heroes. So sniping and killing them before you have beaten the rest of the army now actually is possible. And the impact of a dead general in Pharaoh is...
Wait. Oh. Wait. He doesn't have any difficulty modifier. Oh, wait. Difficulty mod... Okay, so he is playing on Legendary. Confirmed. We have confirmation he is playing on Legendary. There's the evidence.
True to the older Total War titles. But
then that makes it more curious. How is he praising the tactics even though they get all completely nuked on Legendary? You played it on Legendary, but you're telling me there's tactical variety or some crap.
It's not.
He's not playing it on Legendary?
He is playing on Legendary, but I don't understand. They need to further explain where their
moral
positions go
debuff to
from,
the enemy army and becomes
just making statements.
Easy to route. This is how it should be done and is a good historical reflection of the importance of a general, I think. When it comes to you,
was there ever a Total War game that had a good, decent historical representation of, general's effect on the army?
Never once, not once, because it started, all of Total War started with Rome 2. And,
I don't know, I bought all of the games on sale, but never got around to playing them. But I did post it on Reddit.
And their diversity, I'm somewhat puzzled. I don't really know how I feel about it. On one hand, I feel it's lacking a bit of diversity.
Oh, okay, no, I already have that.
There is a pretty clear path on how you should build your armies depending on the faction specifics, and several units is more or less the same, just with small stat differences and with a club instead of a sword. But on the other hand, I'm thinking it has more to do with my personal preferences when it comes to the time period.
Oh, they always have to do the backtrack thing. They're making a point in criticism. Maybe I'm just, it's just my personal preference. Just getting the proverbial shield up right away in case somebody contests your point.
It's just my onions.
It's just opinions. I believe that everyone is entitled to their soup. Okay.
Yeah. So on the bingo card here, I have got only act like now is when things are bad.
You got. I think Terminator and Andy both. No, Terminator and Andy both get that. They both got that, so you get it for free. Did you get 5?
I have not got 5. I've got 2 lines here that I just need 2 more. We're close.
Oh.
I miss proper cavalry unit and crossbows. but I of course realized that they weren't a part of Bronze Age warfare. When it comes to the visual details of the units, they look a bit too shiny, a bit too pretty.
That is true. They look... there's this weird, like... On the one hand, it's like too realistic, but also like too cartoony. Like it's like toys. You're looking at toys at the same time. There's this weird... It's never been right. Like since... I think Napoleon got it best. Like it had everything, like nailed everything down, and the texture quality and everything. They looked like real soldiers, even if they were like the same guy. But like, yeah, it looks way too mobile-esque. Like it's just very, very glossy.
Pretty. But I appreciate the visual differences when it comes to the graphics settings. On the high setting, they actually don't look all entirely the same, at least. When it comes to sieges, the small sieges are pretty bland and play more or less the same. This is not entirely unique for Pharaoh though. This is pretty much the same thing in Total War Attila, I would say, which is my favorite Total War game if you didn't know that. But I still endure those small sieges in Attila because of the variations that do exist, makes the battles play out a bit differently at least. They overall look better and feels more alive with the presence of civilians inside the cities.
Oh, that's interesting. I never played actually any of the settlement battles, but I played the siege battle. I didn't see any civilians inside in the custom battles. That's weird. Okay.
It's interesting you saying that the settlement, these small settlements, are really, really lame and boring. I'm wondering if he's going to mention about how the large sieges are good, because that's what Terminator and Andy did, I believe. One of them did it. So if he goes on to say that the sieges are bad, like across the board, that'll be funny to me how the opinions are conflicting. The onions are conflicting.
Oh, they all love their onions. Okay.
Yeah.
This is my onion. There are many like it, but this one is mine. I am without me, my onion is useless. Without my onion, I am useless.
Yes.
This is not the case with Pharaoh. The map variety is not there, there's no civilians, and they too look a bit too...
Oh, he was talking about Troy. Okay, so he was referring to Troy. Okay, so there's no... I didn't see any civilians in this game. I don't know. If this area is off limits to civilians. Very well. If I see one, I shall inform you. You don't know where that's from.
Don't know the reference now.
Pirates of the Caribbean first movie, Jack Sparrow goes over to the Interceptor the first time. Those two British guys are trying to stop him. He's like, very well. He's like, very well. If I see one, I shall inform you.
Yes, I do remember that now.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Sure, you can change the color settings in the game, but nothing that gets the home run when
I didn't see that one.
It comes to the color settings in the battles overall, in my opinion.
Is there an option that fixes the collision? That would be great.
Is, on the other hand, much better and pretty fun to play, even if they do
Sieges are fun and much better. Okay.
Previous mentioned.
I agree. The maps are actually they're actually like pretty good, and the AI isn't actually terrible in them. Like they won't just completely vacate an entire area because one unit's broken. Like they'll actually send off a small part of their force to intercept that one rather than just the whole thing after it.
So like a big thing I found with the sieges, I haven't played any games. What was the most late? What was the most?
You just haven't played any games, like just generally, huh? Just haven't played any games. Yeah, never once.
Three Kingdoms and Warhammer 2 were the last sets of like Total War I bought. So when it comes to like Total War sieges, the AI would just flood the wall. Everything goes to the wall and the immediate ground below the wall. Once you've done that, game over. There's no more siege. Is it still like that here? Or do they actually have like layered, staggered defense?
The walls, there's only like one layer of walls, but within the city itself, like it's not Warhammer where you can't surround it. You can surround it, and there's like beyond the walls, there's still choke points like within, like you can still fight them out on the streets. So it's not completely, oh, we just broke through the walls, now we can just run over everything and that's it. So
right.
Yeah.
No, so what I meant by that is like they throw everything they have at the walls to defend the walls. They defend the walls at all costs. So it just becomes a massive meat grinder on the top of the walls or at the bottom of the wall. And then the rest of the city is just empty. And you
No,
will
I didn't
never
see that. I didn't see
go
that
into-
happening. Yeah, I didn't see that happening this time. To its credit, I didn't see it happening.
Nice. They are actually fixing that.
No, you know, the baby steps. You know, those Sophia devs, they will rise up. You know, very step by step.
Like a phoenix from the ashes.
Things. The watchtowers are not insanely overpowered. The cities are pretty large, so it makes...
That's true. The watchtowers, they're not overpowered. Like in, I know Warhammer 2, they were really broken, I think, but Warhammer 3, I'm not sure. But this game, no, they're
the fight
toned down.
more unpredictable and opens up more options, which
Like you can see here, like all the streets and everything. So it's not like you still have like defense in depth,
like.
basically.
And no ladders are pulled up there, like in Troy has been seen so far.
Oh, we have the self-propelled siege equipment here. They're not even pushing it. They
It's
have
been
little.
nagging at me for so long. I wish they would fix that.
They have little gnomes pushing them. Someone told me that I can't unsee that now. little
Just
Egyptian.
inside.
Little
It's like
Egyptian.
a bunch of like bicycle type contraptions on chains to their wheels, and it's a bunch of gnomes going for it.
Little Egyptian type gnomes, you know, with the pharaoh headdress and everything.
Overall, when it comes to the sieges, I think they have improved compared to Troy and are back on par with Three Kingdoms at least. That's my impression so far. Regarding the battles, I want to lift one final criticism, which is the lack of good audio and visual notice or cues or whatever you want to call them. When it comes to the visuals, maybe my eyes are starting to let me down a bit, but for example, when I select a unit on the battlefield, I have a hard time seeing quickly which unit I have selected on the unit cards.
I don't know if that's what is true though is that the unit cards is still really dark by default. Like I played with the default color scheme and they're just really dark the whole time. There's really bad contrast. And yeah, it's complete hell. Like to try and select a unit, you have to click on the banner itself. Because if you don't know which unit you're selecting when you select them, like when you try to really quickly like select the unit in heated battle, because they all just go off in different directions, they don't hold formation, so you don't know which unit you're selecting.
In the heat of battles, things like these should not be hard to see. I also tried turning off the projectiles for missile units as I don't really like the looks of it, but I had to turn it back on to 80% because it was damn near impossible to hear or see any signs of if they were firing or who they were firing at.
Oh wow! Was there a Total War game that didn't have these obnoxious missile trails? I think
Maybe one that you're just like blinded by nostalgia for. You just have rose-tinted goggles for them.
Yeah, you know, Fall of the Samurai. Fall of the Samurai. Man, I started playing that game 2 years ago. I was already a 22-year-old man, and I'm just so nostalgic here at this point. I didn't, you know. Apparently, these people on Reddit know my life story better than I do. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Like, there's literally people who weren't even alive when Rome 1 came out, and they're still discovering the game. And people come to tell them, "Oh no, you're just tinted glasses."
Yeah.
Ironically, at this point, there's a lot of rose-tinted glasses surrounding Rome 2.
These are just a couple of examples, but these are the small details that overall affect how you perceive what's going on during the battle. War.
Anyway, I think I am getting absolutely like I don't drink, but I am getting plastered by watching these videos anyway. So nobody won the bingo. Okay, they defeated us so far. Unless you want
to win it with one more.
What? Tell me.
Go to Terminator.
Which one?
Where is he? The Terminator.
Which one?
Was the
Pharaoh?
most recent one you sent me. Oh no, Andy's take. The tragedy of Total War's avoidable death.
Andy's take.
Tragedy.
I can't remember these videos because of like they all mesh together. Oh, War Thunder promotion. They all like mesh together in my head because they're just so. Oh my god. Oh, the word, the flashing text on screen.
directly to creative assembly for a moment, because I think it's important to understand what's happening right now. CA, listen to your audience.
Oh, he's positioning. I get it. He's positioning himself as a self-appointed. Yes. This is
the big one, by the way. You're gonna.
Oh, the vibe. Oh my god, if he gives me the vibe. If he look, I have a feeling he's gonna like give me like these 4 all in one video. Like these 4 are all gonna show up at the same time.
Truly listen, because if you had already, you would have certainly avoided what's happening with Pharaoh. Be willing to adapt and
I thought player counts don't matter. But they don't matter.
change. And again, truly listen to feedback. Because the players, the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who play your games,
like all those 15 billion people playing Troy on Epic Game Store, they're all just immersed. And I couldn't find anyone in multiplayer in Pharaoh because really they were just all hammering it in the campaign. The campaign is just such a phenomenal experience that nobody was playing multiplayer. It was just amazing. Can you not see it? Maybe one day you will be able to see the light.
literally dedicate their free time to not just play, but add on to and develop your games for you through mods are who matter here. And finally, if I hadn't said it before, listen to your audience.
Okay.
The same audience that for more than a decade has called for a return to depth, to every little gameplay detail that make up what you...
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They were fucking shilling this shit from east to west. No,
yes,
they weren't.
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like he's acting like I've been critical all this time.
Little history over here. When I between 2011 and 2019, I would every 6 months or so I would go back to Shogun 2 just to binge play it or something. And in my free time I would also go hang out, maybe check Total War Reddit. And I literally had to scroll down for 1 minute through Warhammer memes just to get through anything that was not the Warhammer meme. Literally. Yeah. Where do you see these people? Where are they? I don't see them.
I've always been critical, guys. Promise. That's getting checked off right there.
Are you close? Are you one away or something at this point?
I am one away. I've got to go. I've got to get Medieval 3 will fix everything, but I don't know if he comes up with it. What I want to say, I really do want to say, this right here is what pisses me off, that he has been nothing but a little fucking cheerleader waving his pom-poms for creative assembly.
It was 4 months ago. 4 months ago.
And now he's
4 months ago he made that it was not even last year. It was 3 months ago or something like that. 3 months.
And it's shameless, dude. It is shameless to not have an introspective look and admit yes, we were part of the hype train. We were leading the charge. And we're sorry. I guess we're sorry is going to be too big a fucking ask for them. But to be maybe we probably should have listened to Voland and Dishonorable Daimyo and Reynolds.
Those toxic guys? What are you? Are you? I'm sorry. Who are those people again? Did I mishear you say? What is that? Voldemort?
Yeah, Voldemort. The dreaded V-Man.
Okay.
Just maybe sure. They should have listened to him. But they don't say that. They just turn around and act like they were him this whole time, critical of the series. No, you weren't. You weren't.
And listen when they beg for a full decade and more.
They did listen when you begged for DLCs, though. That's what you were begging for. They gave you it. This is literally, when I say this is the end game over here, this is the end game. This is what 10 years, this is what you get in the end. This is what you get. This is all you could ever ask for.
For a new engine.
Oh, new engine. You already got that. Okay.
We got that, yeah. Engine.
Because you have sucked on the teeth of a disjointed
Oh, that's inappropriate, Andy. I'm sorry.
Subpar foundation for longer than you should have.
Family friendly.
And people have noticed ever since the first ever iteration of it with Empire. For 15 whole years you have not listened. Not truly. And despite so many people loving your games despite their flaws, including myself, who's created an entire channel largely dedicated to your games, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Your channel is dedicated to the games in the most superficial sense.
Comes a time when enough is enough. And
know there comes a time when he's giving me the same point multiple times in the same video. Give me a different
Even
one.
A decent product is just not enough to make up for a decade of continued disappointment in key areas. Areas which I personally have pointed out time and time again, but which others have also...
Did I... Wait. Random point about Rome 2 being good. Okay, I haven't got those yet.
Vibes theory should be good. Games recent controversies, such as hyenas and for failure.
I didn't get this either. I'm surprised nobody mentioned the optimization thing. Because they usually have like, that's like the first thing they give or something.
Made clear in one way or another since 2009. So please, for your sake and the players, listen to us. Take our feedback.
Listen to us. Listen to us.
Open the lines of communication with us through dev diaries and developer interactions, and become the company we know.
Wait, what?
I want to say, don't associate with me. I've been critical.
I didn't ask you to speak on my behalf. Okay, my opinions are strictly my opinions, not those of my employer.
Yeah, I've been critical for 5 years.
Sorry, my onions are my own. Okay.
Yeah, I've been critical for 5 years with my Warhammer. 5 years later, I was right video. So yeah, my skepticism. Been skeptical for 5 years. I've been critical for about 2 or 3. I've not seen anything from you, bro. I've not seen anything. Maybe during one of your like little cheerleader pom-pom videos, you had like a little side footnote like, well, also this is kind of bad, but you were not critical. Not.
Not.
Stop to be. And listen to what games to
liar.
Yeah. Do you know who they remind me of? You know those terrible Hobbit movies?
Yes, of course I know them.
You know the little green. You know the
guy, the town, the Lake Town guy, the Lake Town guy, the second in command.
Like sucked up to the mayor. He sucked up to the mayor for ages, and then when the mayor eventually fell, they were like, he was like, 3 cheers to Bard, everyone, we love Bard, don't we, guys? Bard's great, and that's them.
Wait until Medieval 3 comes out.
Players say they want, because most of us have been screaming for very specific titles and features.
Oh, he said titles. He's gonna bring out Medieval 3.
That have yet to be seen in the past decade or more. So how did we really end up here?
How did we? How did we? I wonder. It's curious. I'm at a loss for words. How did we get here? We're smarter than this.
I have no idea.
How could this happen to us?
I don't think anyone will be able to analyze that story. That's going to be lost technology.
Maybe they could release a DLC to explain that story to us. Brought to you by Andrew Take.
Horrible even. And I say this as a person who sees Pharaoh's merits and who wants the series to succeed, but not despite everything. Total War Pharaoh launched just last week after what must have been the worst lead up to a Total War game ever.
Even
the
War
worse
Thunder.
than Troy, since that happens here. Rome 2 reaches an all-time peak of 100 and...
Oh wait, I need to... Did I get a point over here?
Every game, since hopefully your player base and fame have increased. This is actually the trend we see in general if we go by fully mainline Total War titles as well. But notice what happens here. Rome 2 reaches an all-time peak of 118,000 players. The only titles to compare with Rome 2 are Warhammer 1 with 113, Three Kingdoms with 192, and Warhammer 3 with 166,000 players.
But like Troy like blows all of these out of the water at its Epic Games Store, like, all those players.
40 million Epic Game players on Troy right now.
Yep.
At their peak.
Trust me.
These are numbers that Creative Assembly should be wanting to see reached or even surpassed with each new
Does this count as him praising random point about Rome 2 being good? I don't know. That is
I would say. But
oh, he might be getting close to this point. He might.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He might be approaching this point over here. Holy crap, I'm gonna win this.
Total War release. But
unlikely victory.
Pharaoh doesn't even reach these giants to their knees.
Can I just say, right, as if you pause, the Warhammer 1, you look at it, 314 players right now. versus 113,000. So it just shows, like, yes, people will say Warhammer 2 and 3 make it obsolete, but if they were actually good games, I think it should have way more players than that. But no, we see huge numbers of peaks, then very low numbers comparatively as the series progresses, which just goes to show that it is what you say. It's just selling a community. It's selling an event. Oh, Warhammer. It's just brand recognition.
And I can attest to that. Yeah, I can attest to that because before I was into Total War, I was into competitive Smash Brothers, okay? And if you know anything about that series history, Super Smash Brothers Melee came out in 2001. That game is like broken, broken, but like in an interesting way, as in like there's all these weird physics interactions in the game, and people are still like figuring out things to this day. Like people are still coming out with new combos and everything, and the character ranking list is constantly changing because people keep on figuring out new interactions, okay, between the different characters. And people are still playing that to this day, and it has not had any developer support whatsoever. In fact, Nintendo tried multiple times shutting down like the game, like tournaments or whatever, because they didn't like the fact that people weren't like, they don't like it when people are playing their older games instead of their newer ones. So the game is still grassroots to this day, and like the without any developer support, they're raising like $50,000 for the rank 1 player, you know, like first person, you know, first place in the tournament. But if you look at all of the other games after that, the moment the sequel releases, the current game just dies off completely. So you had Brawl in 2008 that released. Then you had Smash 4 in 2014. The moment that game released in 2014, Brawl just absolutely died immediately because there's just no point. Like we're not playing these games to like actually figure them out or anything. We're just playing it to get together on Reddit or whatever.
It's just an event. It's just an event. It's not actual good games. But yeah, carry on. Let's see if we can
Truth
bring up
is that this even goes when seen side by side with Rome 2, which came out 10 years ago, when Rome 2 sports an average daily player base peak of about 8,000 players even in the year of our Lord 2023, and Attila, which was brutally left to crumble back in 2016, but is kept alive because of its amazing base game and fantastic modding scene, still keeps more than 3,000 players coming back every day. And don't get me started on Medieval 2, dear old aching but still walking Medieval 2, still keeping an average peak of more than 5,500 people, literally more than Pharaoh.
And these numbers, by the way, are just very they're inherently on the low end because you have to take into account this game wasn't originally on Steam, and I don't think a lot of people had their CDs surviving or something. At least I think there was like a dedicated launcher for the game right before like the Steam days. Is that the case? They might still be playing the game using the dedicated launcher, so you can probably add 1,000 people maybe or that to this number, so it's even better than that.
All-time peak. And this is not even keeping in mind that most people probably bought Medieval 2 on disc back in 2006. This just highlights my argument that the past 10 years of Total War has been a lost decade of core growth for this series. Because the truth is that the core audience of Total War, I would argue, is different than those for Three Kingdoms and Warhammer 3. The two
Whoa. That's too offensive, Andy. That's too close to reality, you know, that maybe they're not catering to the same people anymore. Wait, too offensive. You're getting too real right now.
Yeah, you're being a bit toxic, bro.
Yeah, man. He's just unhappy he didn't get his Medieval 3. That's it. What is up with these players, like these historical fans? They never know what is this not what they wanted? Like, it's ancient Egypt. Like, don't people like ancient Egypt? Okay, haven't you seen that ancient aliens thing on the History Channel? Like, it's popular, right? Well, what's wrong with people, man?
What's wrong, man? We have people and not orcs and flying creatures anymore. Now that's what you wanted. I don't understand.
It's so annoying when you get lumped into like a category of people. Like I get lumped as a historical fan. Like I just have these opinions attributed to me. attributed to me.
It happened to me today. It happened to me right just before we started. Was let me see if I can find it. It's gone in the notifications. Oh no, there it is. Seems I've stumbled across the echo chamber of diehard historical fans. Proceed with caution because logical arguments aren't exactly their cup of tea.
Where is this?
All they seem to do on my video. I'll send it to you after, but all they seem to do is endlessly reminisce about the good old times while providing precisely zero arguments. The author must have just forgotten to explain what made Rome 1 so exceptional, me, compared to, let's say, Attila or Three Kingdoms. We should just trust their word for it, right? I mean, I've been a huge fan of Creative Assembly since Medieval 1. Don't believe that.
No, they haven't.
Thinking Rome 2 is miles worse than Rome 1, or that Empire is a total disaster without offering a single explanation is quite the hot take. Is it really a hot take to say Empire was a disaster?
Even the people on Reddit today, those idiots, still, like, will admit Empire was a bad game.
Yeah. So, like, I'm just a blind historical nostalgia man.
I literally start seething whenever I see, like, just whenever one of my friends suggests you should maybe watch Lord of the Rings this week. It's just oh my god, it's
not my favorite trilogy at all.
It's revolting.
It's my least.
Oh my god, it's revolting. Ooh.
Yeah.
Increase over Rome 2 speed.
What?
I petition for the Third Age mod on Medieval 2 to be taken down permanently because I'm just so pissed off at fantasy.
You know, every day I wake up for work, you know, hating my job. I just think, you know, at least I'm not the person who made the Third Age mod for Medieval. I can't imagine. Can you imagine not just being interested but making that? Ooh.
Third Age mod. I want fantasy in my Medieval.
And this is why Pharaoh was coined on being a return to the historical side of things, of reinvigorating the franchise for the actual core audience, and to bring history back to the series.
Yes, medieval over here at the end. I want to see if it makes the point.
Regular dev diaries, where our developers could take time out of their day to interact with select posts from community members. And
I'd rather, you know, the developers don't interact with the community members. The current state of the community, I'd rather, you know, like... I don't think anyone should be forced to engage with them. I only do it because, like,
well, I don't like it because it creates a conflict of interest, especially when, like, community managers and YouTubers are all behind.
I'm sorry. You made this point before again. What are you implying? I'm sorry.
Impropriety, not never. Never once.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Also, so far they've been very unprofessional. I mean, like when things are going great and the YouTuber being nice little sock puppets for them, it's happy days. Then as soon as Legend of Total War and Great Book of Grudges maybe suggested, they didn't accuse, they suggested that maybe CA Sophia was using the modders perhaps a little bit unethically to beta test their game for them and
what are you? Like I'm sorry, man. What's next? Are you gonna try selling me a bridge next? What is this?
Well, they suggested that could have been the case. Oh my god, did they put the community manager or some kind of like...
No. The CA Sophia devs are hard-working, diligent people. They have their integrity. How dare you even suggest that there might be some foul play at hand?
Perfect people.
Yeah.
They don't at all.
Yeah, I think you mean to refer. I think you mean to refer to the Horsham, those grubby Horsham devs, you know, like and managers. I think that's what you're actually referring to, right?
Well, maybe this person was a Horsham plant. Maybe that was what it was. That was what it was all along.
So they plant molds there at CA Sophia. That's what's happening here. Yeah. All right. Yep, so instead of waiting for nighttime to move things around slightly, you can just have it happen normally during the day.
The killer is inside the house, mate.
The enemy never sleeps.
Yeah.
Invest in moderators to weed out potentially non-constructive comments for a safe and secure society. I would have imagined to weed out potential interact with select posts from community members and invest in moderators to weed out potentially non-constructive comments.
Well, they're already doing that. It's just that they have a very interesting definition for what is not constructive. So, so like no. What we need is not dev diaries. What we need is like you guys, you YouTubers working out of your bedrooms. Just don't do this crap. Like you're like there are like what I mentioned earlier about Super Smash Brothers Melee. There are so many players over there who just like Nintendo is not associated with the whole thing at all. In fact, they tried to shut it down multiple times, but they just don't, because those YouTubers all come together to say, no, we're just gonna play this game. Like we like have the legal rights to host this tournament. Like you don't have a right to like shut it down or whatever. And that's it. That's them. You know, they don't need the whole community managers from Nintendo or whatever dev diary. Jeez.
For a safe and secure society. I would have imagined that after more than a decade of begging, that the players would have enjoyed a Medieval 3 the most.
What was that?
That was Medieval 3.
Moderators to weed out potentially non-constructive comments for a safe and secure society. I would have imagined that after more than a decade of begging, that the players would have enjoyed a Medieval 3 the most. Perhaps.
Oh, bubba.
Where is this? Where is this?
Yeah, baby. I'll rub it all out for you.
Where is
this row here? This row here. Medieval 3 will fix everything. Mods will fix everything.
So you got 5?
Yep. The graphics.
Oh, show me. I need to see this. I need to see this. Sorry. Whoa. I need to see this.
Okay.
I need to see this real quick.
I got Medieval 3 will fix everything.
Okay. All right.
Mods will fix everything.
Wait a second. Sorry. Wait a second. I just need to make sure that things are recording over here.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh.
Medieval graphics. Only now is when things are bad. Only act like now is when things are bad, and then zero recognition of Rome 2 flaws. Bingo.
I was close, okay? I was close. I had oh my god. I'm shocked that I didn't get any of these though. Like this is like I feel scammed right now, you know, like they did the bait and switch, like they made it seem like this was the obvious play and they never took it. They never gave it. They never fed me, you know, the content, the sweet content that I wanted.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh, what's going on here? Whoa. Why do I have a mouse trail going over here? Hang on. Okay, that's better. Are we still connected?
Yep, all good.
Okay.
All good.
How do I... Okay. Whoa. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. So I think that cuts it. I think we've covered enough ground in these 3.5 hours of this crap.
I think that's potentially for like multiple videos for you right there.
No, I'm just gonna keep it. I'm just gonna chunk upload the whole thing. You know, like here you go, guys. Just you know, turn that off if you want something to listen to while driving or something. Or on your commute to work. This is it. You know, you don't need to actually watch it. But okay. That's it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. In the future, 3.5 hours of this Total War Pharaoh wrap-up discussion, everything. Thank you so much, Nasser, and I forgot to tell you who he is. Okay.
Yes. I'll just say I'm Naz, known as Naz, but my username is Nazma on YouTube. I've been following Dia for a while, and I've uploaded a few Total War critiques myself. But yeah, that's me. That's my intro.
And of course,
at the very end of the video,
a part-time hater as well. You know, for fantasy especially, just absolutely revulsing. We need. I feel like we need to do this discussion again, like 1 year from now, just seeing all the cope and everything. It's gonna be a very interesting. By the way, like it's gonna be very interesting seeing like how going forward how these guys like manage their channels. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they just gonna shill mods and that's it, or are they gonna move on to a different franchise entirely, or they're just gonna hold out hope for Medieval 3? You know, even after all this and whatever. Like, it's just it's gonna be a very interesting time.
I think the obvious play is the Med 3 card. That's the ace up their sleeve. I'll chill for that. Med 3 will probably come out meh. And then, like, what I will tell you now is if you're watching Dishonorable Daimyo right now and you're one of them, or one of these, like, YouTubers, start investing right now. Invest in other games right now, dude. Like, branch out, diversify, stop being a one-trick Total War pony, please. It's good. It's good in general. It's good practice in general because you will not be beholden to their community managers and their early access media.
Oh my god. You know, games were originally a venue to escape from all the middle managers. Now the middle managers came from the games. You know, they did it. They took their dreams of managing Excel in their jobs and they made the games into Excel simulators. It's anyway, I'll see you next time. I'll see you all next time. It's at the end of this. The next time, 1 year from now, probably. Bye bye.